Good evening, friends, Romans, countrymen. Lend me your ears. I shall return them next Friday in pristine condition. I hear you. Hello, Fossology.
Hello.
Fear not, your ears will be taken care of well by me. Should you choose to lend them to me, I will treat them with almost as much care as I treat my own ears. Hey, look. It's Kankan Krishna Sarmapagu.
Wow.
I know.
That's a hell of a name right there.
I've been wondering, when are we going to see Kankan Krishna Sarmapagu? And then boom, right on point.
Speak of the devil.
KKSP and the isn't. And look who else is here. If it isn't everybody's very favorite resident of Fresno or Sacramento, I can't remember which, Zandy. Zandy's here.
Hi, Zandy.
Did you know that, Zandy? You are my single very favorite resident of either Fresno or Sacramento. Good evening, Rowan Morgan. I got a wavy hand from Zandy Spacey, but you'll note that you got a heart.
That's how it goes.
Yeah, I guess that's what comes along with being a young, sexy nerd like Spacey. When did I publish my book? Well, I don't think I published any book, did I? I
don't think you ever published it.
I don't publish books. I write them, but I don't publish them.
You have it. Yeah.
That requires a little more follow through than I got. Zandy, I'm going to, because you put that heart there for Spacey, I'm going to transubstantiate this bongo for you. But instead of transubstantiating it directly to you, I'm going to transubstantiate it first into Spacey, who will then transubstantiate it to you by the power of my propane torch and magical spell.
Excellent.
So this will, it's a pretty romantic bong riff. All right. Pretty romantic.
All right. Wow. Jeez.
Here we go.
Are you ready for this?
This is going to be, your heart's aflutter right now, as though you were about to embark upon your first kiss. Here we go.
All right.
Sandy, by way of Spacey's lungs, do I hereby transubstantiate this bong rip to you?
This bong rip's for you, baby.
You know what's remarkable? I can feel a little transosmotic transubstantiation. My lung became stronger. I got a little bit of your lung strength there. I normally wouldn't have been able to finish that one or pull it through. But because the transubstantiation is a sort of osmosis-y mix there, I got a little bit of his lung strength. I was able to pull it all through. And Zandy, you got a full bell ringer of a bong rip. Congratulations. Don't just thank me. Remember, it was his massive lungs that got us through to the end. Okay. You're right, Zandy. It is the power of love. Just like the world's greatest band, Huey Lewis and the News, once said, "It's the power of love." What type is Mr. Rogers? I think he is a INFP. I suspect. And you think he's an ISFJ? Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. I think you're right, Sarah Kilioli. Sarah Kilioli says Mr. Rogers is ISFJ. I suggested INFP. Who's more right?
I'll transubstantiate this one to Alex.
Okay.
I don't want her to feel bad.
Alex, you're getting a transubstantiated bong rip right here. Transubstantiated. You'll notice the stories we tell come true. Until Spacey presumed he had the power to transubstantiate, he didn't have the power. But now he does. The stories we tell come true. My INFP friend thinks he's an INFP. Well, then he's correct, Sandy. If your INFP friend thinks he's an INFP, Your INFP friend is correct about his own type. Angantir, what type is Carl Sagan? Same type as that famous astrophysicist.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
ENFJ, you think?
I think Carl Sagan is probably the same type as him.
I think Neil's an ENFJ, honestly, but I don't know.
Gerald's an ENFJ, Andy. I can answer that question very easily, and it's a great question. So Andy asks, what type is Gerald? Gerald is an ENFJ. Because Gerald is, like it says, and Gerald knows that he's, what does it have to work? And Gerald knows that he's, where's my head? I can't. And Gerald knows he understands ever more clearly or now. He can't provide explanations regarding the why or the how. He'll see you and know you from inside your heart. Exciting, delighting. Gerald plays his part. He's an ENFJ.
ENFJ, yeah.
Right.
You did have a second typing session with the same guy, right? Because he wanted his Enneagram done.
Oh yeah, I've had multiple typing sessions with multiple people. I had like 4 sessions with one lady.
They weren't all typing sessions, though, right?
No, basically she wanted. Actually, like the first 2 of them were, I guess,
Okay.
and she sort of wanted to. She was anti-polar.
Oh.
She was ESFJ.
Okay.
And she wanted to keep returning to the NE, I guess, and eventually she just stopped returning to it. Keanu Reeves is probably INFP. I think Keanu Reeves might be ISFP. Keanu Reeves sounds like an INFJ. Keanu Reeves is very much developed from when he first entered acting. He's very polished. It can be hard to tell with actors, But Keanu certainly might be an INFP. You didn't ask me the nuanced polar questions when you typed me. Jordan Spike, well, basically what that means is you have a polar I can't test directly. And so I probably eliminated TI and NE real quick as polars and then said, okay, well, what about SI? No, I eliminated SI real quick as a polar. So then that's all my polars. I can't really test the other polars directly. So I have to work in other directions. Keanu is over 300 years old, so he'll be hard to type by now, maybe even older. It's a great point, Luke.
Yeah, he's pretty ancient by now. It's true.
Yeah, once you get past 200, it's really hard to type you.
Yeah.
Anybody here watches The Americans? Question mark, question mark, question mark? Ask King Krishna Sarmapagu. I don't. I've never heard of it before.
Yeah, who's heard of that? What the hell is that?
It must be a show.
Is it some kind of show?
Some kind of television program? Some sort of serial, episodic, multimedia entertainment production of some sort? Acting?
If I remember right, it was a show about. It's like The Americans, and it's a show about like some people who are like Russian agents or something, like communist agents or something.
But didn't that show have a K in it? Because that's not how Homie spelled it.
I don't think so. Maybe it did.
I think it was spelled Americans with a K. That show. Anyway, Sarah Killiel used to watch it. Was it spelled with a K or not? Angantir says acting equals SE. SE types might very well get into acting because they're willing to do anything or try anything, if they're dominant. Basically, I had a very interesting typing earlier of an ESTP woman. And C.S. Joseph types Chad Crandall as ENTJ. Well, blind squirrels, nuts, etc. Spacey's right about what?
The show, I guess.
Oh.
Eric's like, no, that's Americans with a K.
Let me get back to Angantir's question. I got distracted thinking about Fossology's question and trying to figure it out before I stopped realizing I was distracted. I think SE types are likely to get into acting because they're willing to try anything, and acting requires you to try something. It requires you to take a chance that you're going to be awkward or fail or whatever. Even a blind squirrel gets an occasional nut. Joseph House, that's the expression. So, but I think really your best actors are likely to be FE Doms and FE second slots. Like Abraham, for example, is a great actor. He does hilarious impressions, and he does that hilarious impression of a raccoon eating. Well, I mean, I don't begrudge anybody typing their animals. I type my pets too. Am I dead serious about it? Well, not really. But I do think they have types. I don't think it's something I can affirm and sustain scrutiny about. It's not a position statement I'd affirm and expect to win an argument over. So now the fussology question about the hats question, the only possible combinations considering that Bob and the other guy don't know that they're all wearing red hats or one of the two blindfolded ones has a white. Well, the only possibilities are all three have red, all three have white, two have white, or two have red. Those are all the possibilities. Or, yeah. So the point is, though, the way to answer the question requires you to put yourself in the mind of each of the people successively, realizing, oh yeah, they can't all three have white. You're right. So it's a 2 white, 1 red, 1 white, 2 red, or all three red. Okay, those are the only possibilities. But the point is, when the first guy looks, because he knows there's only 2 white hats in the thing, he knows that if both the other guys are wearing white hats, then he must have red. Everybody knows that. If they open their eyes and they see the other 2 guys wearing white hats, they know they must themselves have a red hat. Yeah, Ron Solo, I've thought about this a lot too. It's hard to determine an intuitive cat from a sensing cat, for example. But even having said that, and I agree that it's hard to imagine.
Are any animals really intuitive?
Right, it's hard to imagine.
That's what I would like.
I would imagine that's specific to symbolic language, right? That you're going to be intuitive about symbols connecting to mean things. But having said that, it sure the fuck seems to me that my former now dead cat, Normal, was an extroverted intuitor. I don't know what to say. He was active as fuck, and he was also clumsy and played weird games with himself and fell over and
right. Yeah.
And whereas other cats like Balfour's is an SE cat.
For sure.
She'll catch the fuck out of anything.
Right.
So it's like 2 different kinds of action. Now, what does Normal get in exchange for?
She's a fucking ISTP, isn't she?
Who, Balfour's?
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah, I think she could. Yeah, probably an ISTP.
Yeah.
She's. When you do pet her, she's like love, but don't expect anything at all from me in return.
Yeah.
Mila Jovovich, I don't know who that is.
Oh, is that a Djokovic? Is that a tennis player, or something else?
Is everyone with the name Mila super hot? Good question, Supernova.
Maybe.
Mila Kunis is.
Well, I think Slavic women just tend to be kind of hot. That could be it.
Any good show you guys recommend to watch? Extremely bored these days. Well, first of all, KKSP, you found the most exciting show on the internet. You're participating in it right now. It's called a TWFP live stream. And
watch The Young Pope. That was really good.
Oh, I watched a cool movie. That's right. I watched this cool Japanese movie called 13 Assassins. I'd recommend it. And then I watched this other cool Kung Fu Chinese movie today called Assassin's Reign. I'd also recommend that. REIGN.
Zandy says she started watching Rain, Reign, as well. It seems interesting so far. We're talking about a different thing than I'm talking about, of course. What type do I think Mila Kunis is? I have no idea. I'd have to watch interviews with her, or I really have to talk to her. I could sort of make a stab at it. Some people, Space and I were doing a fun thing before, which was listening to some different songs by people and saying, those are INTP lyrics, those are INFJ lyrics, those are INTP lyrics, or whatever like that. Gang Krishna Sarma Pagoo. The Boys on Amazon was good, a couple weeks old now. I love Legion and recently hooked on The Boys. Hi, Countess One. You can't type her. Sarah, you didn't even pronounce her name right. Lol, JK. Who, Mila Kunis? Is not how you pronounce it? I don't know how to pronounce it. Let's see. So, I will say about SE types is, or at least the DOMs, they have a carelessness about them that I think EHPs often have as well, that kind of makes them stand out. Like you get how, did you notice how not hesitant to answer questions that lady was earlier?
Oh, absolutely.
Like there's no waffliness because TI tool.
Ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something that's kind of unique, I think, to the two action types. ISTPs will be more careful about responding. INTPs will be more attack the questioning. Well, that's not really a question you can answer, Eric. It's the sort of thing like an INTP is going to say, right?
Okay.
Just ENTPs and ESTPs, because of this TI tool function thing, they're always happy to give you, here's my position statement. I think that might be a good typology tip and trick, or whatever you want to call it. Hack.
Interesting.
It's good that they replaced tips and tricks with a one-word hack. It used to be in the old days, you talk about tips and tricks. Now people say hacks.
Interesting. Right. Well, it is pretty snappy, isn't it?
It saves us 2 words over tips and tricks.
That's pretty crazy. The evolution of language is just incredible, isn't it, guys?
You could just you could basically excerpt the last 40 seconds and go, INTP in a nutshell.
Right.
Both interested and sardonic about the even concept of being interested about anything concurrently.
only an INTP, guys. Sorry.
How do you? My ESFP sister always wants to kiss and hug me, which causes me to scream at her. INTJ, says Countess. Well, first of all, Countess, let me say that's quite a timely observation for you to offer us, because that's exactly what prompted me to finally go, oh, ESTP with this woman. Spacey asked her, how do she show love or express love to other people? And she said, I'm very huggy and kissy and physical. And it launched this SI association in my head of love Lou. And then I had a sort of a domino association with my friend Sarah and realized, oh, this lady sounds a lot like Sarah. Oh, she's an ESTP, because Stacey and I have been like going back and forth, ESTJ, ESFJ, what the fuck is this lady? Once the NI finally stopped being ignored and kicked in, it was like, okay, she's an ESTP. That's what it is. That's why she's so effy, but also not caring.
Yeah.
Which is not normally what happens with FE, exactly.
Right. That is interesting, though.
It's a bit strange listening to my 8-year-old explain life hacks.
Right. Well, I almost feel like the only way to get kids to actually do things that make their lives more efficient is to frame them as cool hacks. Right? It's like
That's true.
otherwise it wouldn't be interesting at all.
Well, I mean, it depends, but
Right.
you know, for cool hacks is a way to sell TE to TI people.
Exactly. Right. Oh, it's like hacking, but in real life.
How do you know if you have FI or TI in the first or fourth or in the middle two? That's a good question. And the answer is, that's a much tougher question than how do you know if you have it in the first or second or in the third or fourth, obviously. Which is why you didn't ask that question. That would have been a much easier question to answer. What you're saying is basically, can you distinguish between tool scorecard and implicit? You can, but it's. I mean, it depends on the type. It's like if you talk to me in Spacey for a long enough time, you'd be able to tell that one of us is expert intuitive or dominant. One of us is a tool user. And same thing with TI. But it's hard for me to even begin to explain how I could tell the difference exactly in TI. TI is less active almost when it's in the dominant slot, at least outwardly.
Well, I think a lot of functions are like that. They're much more immediately obvious in the second slot. Almost any function.
Yeah.
Because they're more haphazard with it, I guess. And the first function is much more efficiently and effectively used to the point where like you're not trying too hard with it. Like
right, you're not overusing it. People overuse it to the extent that there's a beautiful poetic link with the 2 and the 7. Because you get so much utility out of it and you use it so much and it's such your go-to thing, you overuse it when you should use the other kind of the same tool. So when I should use FI, I'm still using TI. When he should use SE, he's still using NE. So that's because, okay, so there's some good questions here. How's it going, Jets? Says Spinner. It is going well. Thank you for asking. Oh, you and your ENT Venus, Eric, says Joseph House. Oh, indeed. Roman Morgan, he watches too much YouTube, obviously. Whoever he's referring to, I'm not sure. Naomi M asks a very interesting question. How much of philosophy do you think is just cognitive bias? I wouldn't talk about it like that, in the sense that I would say, I think it's a great question, but I would say much of philosophy is the product of people with a certain kind of attentional manner. And therefore, it's done in a medium of attention that is going to advantage those people who naturally use that medium of attention. So it's like the TI philosophy stuff, it's not just an expression of TI bias. It's a demonstration of TI winning in its own arena and doing what it does and being correct in its own arena, as every function can do. It's just the TI is unique among the introverted functions in that you can always extrovert and parse out exactly what the processes of the TI are. You can't do that with NI, you can't do that with SI, and you can't do that with FI for sure. But with TI, I can always explain to you, and we can put it out there for all third parties to look at. With TI, it's the only introverted function you can do this. Here's what my introverted function was doing a second ago. Here's exactly the steps it took. Now you look at it and see with your introverted function if those steps make sense. Of course, you don't have TI. You're not naturally going to go, oh, yeah, I'm using the same metric as you. I can see your introverted thinking there was correct. But it's the only introverted function. I never said this before, which is why I'm repeating it because it seems like profound or something. The only introverted function that you can put out for everybody else to look at.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty wordy for an introverted function, you could say.
Yeah. A little wordy. But more specifically, what it is well, mechanically consistent. So it's like you can always articulate why something is valid or invalid. For example, in the question that I asked that lady today, oh, you guys didn't see that one because we didn't record that one, but I asked her a question about validity. It said, only pigs oink, Porky is a pig, therefore Porky oinks. Valid or invalid? And she, by her answer, I could tell she hadn't studied logic, really. Like, that wasn't why she understood it. She didn't understand it as a learning thing. She said, not necessarily. And I asked, well, why not? Well, because, only doesn't mean all, right?
Right.
That's TI.
That's TI.
That's TI in the second slot. And it not only is correct, it explains why it's correct, and it assumes it's obvious to everybody.
If you see anybody hair splitting like that, it's got to be TI.
Right.
Right? That's what TI does.
And you'll hear both ESPs and EHPs correct themselves a lot, or for little shit. It doesn't need to be corrected even. Like, it was about 4 p.m. No, I'm sorry, it's about 4:30. Who the fuck cares? Get on with your story.
We're the ones who in Discord you see edited next to every single one of our posts. Right?
So anyway, that's what I want to say with the cognitive bias thing is, yes, philosophy is the dominion of any TI in particular, but it doesn't mean it's just reflective of any TI bias. Because remember, of all functions, the one function that is fundamentally not biased is TI, because it is, in fact, an unbiased or disinterested calculus. Now, where it is in the stack depends on how purely you execute it is that. When it's in the tool function, it's executed most purely, but again, over-executed. Regardless, I want to talk about the next one. All men are cars. All cars have horns. All horns honk. What can we conclude about men? Why was the answer all men have honks? Why not all men honk? Because all men are cars. Now, all cars have horns, and all horns honk. So what that means is that all men have horns, but when you say all horns honk, you are saying it's the same thing. It's an equivalency, like as though it had an R in it. Basically, all horns are honkers. So as a consequence, it's something that can be had. So all men have horns. Therefore, the next conclusion thing is they must have honks. It's a poorly asked question, and the person still got it right because they're parsing it purely on the logic of it, not on what they think I mean, right? They assume what I say is what I mean. TI does that. FI says, what do you really mean? You said that, but what do you really mean? That's not something I find myself ever asking. I assume the person means what they say, and it gets me into trouble a lot of times. Okay. Where am I? Ooh, we got lots of stuff now. Oh, thanks, Winston Mom. I will ask you such to be reminded. Please hit like. That would be very much appreciated by me and Facey both. Winston's mom, I want to appreciate the voice that I appreciate you saying that and pimping for me like that, because you are correct that I won't ask. It's not because I'm too humble to ask or something like that. It's because I just forget about it. It doesn't occur to me, I would like to ask you guys to like, if you're willing to, that's great. I appreciate it.
A devoted fan indeed.
It's TI time. May I have a scone, please? Yes, that's correct. Whenever we're TIing, we must eat scones. Good evening, Winston's mom, says Zandy. Do you know if INFJ has this weird belief they're an INFJ just from all the vibes in relation to another INFJ kind of thing in their head, or is it any other factors around? Different people believe they're INFJs for different reasons. Some of them are correct, some of them are incorrect. INFJs are among the types that will tend to, real ones will tend to be among my clients, right? Like certain types want me to type them more than other types do. ENTJs they have a tendency to want me to type. Like my client, the people who I type turn out to be ENTJs at a higher percentage than even their percentage of intuitives. INFPs, INFJs, INTPs, ISTPs. Then there's types that don't really come in to get typed. Or if they do, we have problems. ISFPs. They don't necessarily like the type I give them, and they say, but I feel like this, and here's some other words, and I go, well, I never really did answer your question. I'm a professional victim. Let me get back to it. His question was basically, can you distinguish between 1-4 and 2-3? Like, okay, I know your NE is either 1 or 4 and not 2 or 3.
Oh, yeah.
Or I know it's either 2.
That happens for me a lot.
Really? So talk us through that. How does that occur for you?
To me, it's like the two most important things in somebody's psyche, basically, are their first and their fourth. So you're going to see them making a big deal about both of them more than their two middle functions. Even if, for example, like we said, your tool function is expressed frequently, it's not going to be something that necessarily like you care about a whole lot.
It's instrumental.
Right. It's instrumental. So you're going to see a lot of tension and maybe a lot of anxiety and a lot of oscillation in between that first and the fourth function. That's going to be where most of like that tension is in your psyche, where a lot of your issues maybe stem from.
So wait, repeat. Did you just say that the issues come from 2-3 or 1-4?
1-4.
1-4. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think the issues tend to come from 4, because it's what we're constantly neglecting in order to be 1. So in that sense, you could say that 1's taking away from. It's really 1's fault from taking away so much from 4.
And then 4 acts up in response, and it's kind of like a bipolar thing.
Yeah, you got to find a balance, and it's tough to find that balance because everyone's so overweighted to their 1 starting off in life.
Your middle pair is much easier to balance.
That's why it usually wins gold in balance beam at the Olympics. I like how SE is just SE, haha. What is that for? What did you use to come to that conclusion? Hello, Bao from Vietnam. Eric is in the garage. J House, have you ever lived in Tampa? We knew a family there named House. Dominion, host Eric said Dominions, that must be us. Dominions? Did I? Maybe, I don't remember. I suspect it's function emulation. At night when I have a really sexy dream and like stuff comes out. Is that what it's called? Function emulation? Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of something else. I see a lot of INFJ who seem to have the same ideas when I do, but it's more that none of the other types fit as well. Does fourth FI make it hard for the self to be known, as in they mistrust others? How would you explain fourth slot FI? I don't think they're mistrustful necessarily. I think that, well, in ESTJs, it links to the polar NI, and in ENTJs, it links to the polar SI. So, for example, my dad, he's an ESTJ. He has polar NI, and he will place a great deal of importance on something today and say things as though there's a big shift going forward. We're going to change the way we do this because blah. And then, like a day or two later, you won't hear any more about that. It'll be something else, It's this polar NI, also 4 slot FI. He neither knows what's the singular true path, nor is he very clear at all. He always forgets to think, well, which one do I like better? And so that's how his polar NI and polar FI combine to make him do these sort of like freak out about something one day and make a bunch of big proclamations and then forget all about those proclamations the next day and make different. My dad.
Oh yeah, my dad's the same fucking way. he always makes these big proclamations or something, and then like, or he'll make these statements, and then he'll like, as if he knows what he's talking about.
All right,
yeah,
son.
right.
All right. Look, we've
Yeah.
reached a new era now. Things are different now. Your mom's really gone downhill, and everything's gonna change. And we've got to do something. You know, I think I'm gonna maybe move her into a home, or then and the next day he's like, you know, I think maybe your mom and I are gonna go to Palm Desert
Yeah,
for vacation.
Right.
Like, Dad, do you remember that big speech you gave me yesterday? That's polar and I. But the other aspect of it that magnifies it is the fact that they don't really know which one they like, which option they like better, right? So it's one thing to not know which the best option is. It's another thing to also not have a very clear sense of which option you like better. And so if you have those two things combined, you end up doing shit like I described about my dad. Now, ENTJ, they have no SI and no FI. So they're always trying to figure out if they have a soul. They're like, who am I? I don't remember any of my experiences really, and I'm always forgetting to see if I like something or not. Well, back to work. I just gotta, I got my NI badge in here. I'm gonna just go back to the singular truths that I do know, and my TE, and we're gonna make this organization successful, and we're gonna rock this shit. And then 60 hours, 70-hour week, and then, hey, host Eric. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out. It's like I'm having this weird thing. It's like I'm working 70 hours a week, and it's like I don't know who I am, and that's ENTJ. They get lost in what they're doing and how to do it and the best way to do it, and forget why to do it or who they are, what it means to them as an experiential artifact of existence. To me, those experiential artifacts are really important because my SI is so weak. I was noting the other day in the car, talking to Spacey and saying that I like to rewatch videos a lot of times until I get the whole video in my head all the way. Depends how many times. And some videos I watch a lot, some videos I just watch one time. I've gotten better at getting the video in my head. But if I think about, I want to watch that old video I haven't watched in a long time, but I still have it in my head, oh no, I know all the stuff that happens. I won't be surprised at any point when watching it, and I don't want to watch it. That's for non-music videos. So, rewatchability, those time artifacts are important ways for me to get the SI that I feel like I need to understand something. Because I'm a knower from experience, I don't know something until I've experienced, not really know something until I've experienced a lot of times, as far as art objects go.
My approach is totally different. If I watch the way I think about it is I watch something, I'll get the gist of it. So I will get like 75, 80% of what there is to get out of it. And so every additional time that I watch it is worth way less of my time.
Okay, I want to stress that this thing I'm talking about only applies to my own shit.
Oh, right, okay.
Because I'm trying to know myself, and like this, I feel like clone that I put.
I feel like even if I was doing my own shit, it would be like
you wouldn't.
that.
No, you wouldn't be like that.
I wouldn't?
You wouldn't, because your SI is stronger. You don't need to rewatch shit 5 times to feel like you know what you did.
Right.
Right? You only need to watch it once, if that. You might remember what you did when you did.
I might get like halfway through it and be like,
okay, I got the gist of it. That's good enough.
Right.
And you're not getting sort of FE juice from watching yourself socially succeed occasionally.
No, not really.
You need more direct application of FE juice.
Yeah.
You can't put the leap yourself and go, ooh, that was a funny joke, Eric. People are gonna like that. They're gonna laugh. I bet somebody's gonna leave a comment saying "lol" and timestamp it. That'll make me so happy if they do that.
Hey, guys,
and then if they actually do, I'm like, fuck yeah, I nailed it.
Yeah, that's right. Please come at me with an actual syringe loaded with FE.
Right.
I need it.
Yeah, you basically operate on the assumption that if somebody's not telling you FE, good job, or whatever kind of FE, like yes, confirmation that you are on the right track or whatever, that you kind of assume you probably haven't done enough because it's force lot. I feel the same way about SI. If somebody's telling me about schedule or something, I will always defer in the argument. If somebody said no, because you said 3:30, I just go, okay, I guess I did. My bad. There's zero chance I'm going to remember what I said. It was about logistics. I'll remember all kinds of other kind of argumentational shit, but details like that, like dates, times, schedule shit, goes in one ear and out the other.
Yeah. Feel you.
Okay, let's see what's going on here in the old Chatteroo section. Chatteroo section of the live stream activity forum.
Ooh, it's our chill ISFJ.
Hey, Joseph House, thanks. I appreciate
Thanks,
that $1.49 and the peach. Let's see. Where are we? Wow, it's a long time ago. I mean, you know what I mean.
A long, long time ago.
Well, I'm really late. Okay, here we go. Susie arrives. I am not entirely confident that SE is in the fourth slot, but it makes more sense than the first slot. Hello, introverted thinker and typing whisper. Yeah, hence the balance with your duel. I think it's because you have to shut off one to do four and vice versa. That's true as well, Peter, but the point is you're habituated to preferring one, so you choose not to shut it off to get four very often. But you're right, I agree with you on that. I think those things are exclusive in the 1-4, whereas they're not in the 2-3, which is weird to think about. Because it seems in the 1-4, it seems to me that NE and SI are naturally exclusive. That I have to shut off NE to do SI. I don't think INTPs have to do that. I'm not quite sure how they could even work. It doesn't seem conceptually possible to me.
What?
Well, I'm saying in the 1-4, it's like I feel as though I have to shut off NE to do SI.
Okay.
But I think that in the 2-3, people have NE, SI, the 2-3 can do them concurrently. Just like I feel like I can, I mean, it's hard. It takes effort. I can do TI, FE concurrently, right? And I usually do it to some amount. To really focus more on the FE part, I got to put more attention into it. But the fact is I can do it concurrently.
What does it mean to do them concurrently?
All right. Well, so, for example, let's say I wanted to explain something, why somebody's wrong, to somebody who I think can understand it, but I want to be very careful in my language.
Okay.
Well, you see me do it all the time in typing people.
Right.
That shit I do where I'm explaining why it's this way, but remember that one time when you asked, like, you say, but Eric, it's not really the way you present it. And I said, yeah, but we want to make it present it like the thing that we're contrasting against in ourselves is bad, and the thing that we're contrasting against in them is the good thing to make them feel good about the thing we're telling them. So they don't really like, I don't want to be up, yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Right, so I'm aware of that and doing that actively while I'm explaining shit, right? Because I can do TI and FE concurrently. I can't do NE and SI concurrently.
Okay.
So presumably, if there's symmetry to the whole thing, which I believe there is, then you must be able to do NE and SI concurrently.
And maybe. I don't know what that would look like exactly.
Well, I mean, I think one aspect of it that's back and forth, which makes it almost concurrent, is the random association aspects of SI link right in with NE and serve NE all the time.
Yeah, it's definitely much more tied into my the way I interact with people and my speech. Like I'm always attempting to reference my experiences and their experiences and trying to compare and contrast them in order to aid my explanations to people. I'm trying to be like
concrete analogs.
I'm trying to feed their SI with my NE. I don't know.
No, but you're right about that. We talked about it the other day, how you're always trying to find concrete analogs that other people understand.
Right, exactly.
In other words, you're trying to make other people understand. I'm trying to make other people feel like they like what I'm giving them.
Right.
So
exactly.
Yeah, that's the difference.
For me, yeah, I'm trying to give people understanding, and then my FE and my NE kind of serve as anesthetic, so I can cut into them and make them understand. That's the way.
Please, thank you, very nice.
TI-SI is the scalpel.
Let's see here. ESTJ I know is way too trusting, super global. Well, you know, ESTJs do have NI4. What would an SE dream be? I don't know. Slaying the puss? Which type are likely to keep saying the same things over and over again for years? That's your SI types, your ISFJs, your ESFJs, your ESTJs, your ISTJs. ISTJs especially.
Oh God, yeah.
Every time Cameron sees me, he greets me exactly the same way. Hello, senor.
Audra does the same shit. She always used to say hello turkeys or some shit like that.
Right. So, you know, that's something that SI people do.
An SE dream is a wet dream, I guess.
Now, I will note the following additional thing about saying things over again. Right, I have a always growing repertoire of stories, jokes, references, allusions to things, etc., that are from my experience both in my life and of my sort of media creating self as well. So I'll bring back shit from a long time ago, or some joke from a long time ago, and use it in some new context. And nobody will have any idea because it's some obscure little thing from my life from that I used to sing with that girlfriend at that time or something. So in that regard, SIs often look like NE. You know, oh, this thing you're doing is NE. It's really just a SI shit that you've never heard before. But I keep very much track of what I've said recently and how often I say it, and I'll move away from certain things. And you know, I don't want to oversaturate anybody with a given set of stuff. So in that regard, any TI looks like it doesn't say the same things all over again but it's not really true. It's aware of whether or not you're going to perceive it that way. If it's with FE, you know,
Right.
Jordan Spike says, fucking ESTJs, can't trust them. You can trust them. The thing is, ESTJs
They're usually pretty trustworthy.
They're very reliable. Yeah. You know, there is that sort of sense of they're not reliable about statuses. Like, you know, if you take their arguments at face value and they say statuses like these new statuses are now applying. Well, they're not very. You shouldn't.
Right.
You should just go. Okay, well, just go on. Keep whatever. You don't care, and you're just saying that. But if you get them to commit to doing shit and stuff, that's a whole different matter. If you say I need your help with something, that's a whole different matter. They're very reliable and they're very helpful. And
another thing my dad would do is he'd say something. I guess as an example, like my sister had a problem with her employer or something, and he'd say something like, "They can't do that. That's illegal. You know, I know the law," or some shit. You know,
mm-hmm.
And then afterward, he'd actually go back and look it up and realize that he was full of shit previously, and he was just saying that. You know, I don't know if that's common among them, but
Countess says, "Ooh, I almost never visit the past. It's dead to me unless I want to talk about something bad that happened." Huh? Well, it doesn't sound like you have much love for SI. Dream a little dream of me, dream lover, dream weaver, California dreaming. The dream continues. Countess, like repeating because they don't remember telling you, or something stuck on and always talk about, or like I was saying on my first statement. Well, thank you. I didn't expect to get such a satisfying answer like that, but you guys have nailed it perfectly. Thank you deeply. Okay, thank you guys. You're welcome. Thanks a lot for your kind regard. Experiential artifacts from the godly weather, man. Countess, one brilliant answer, huzzah. It's not over yet. My 90-year-old grandma, back when she was alive, could remember the lyrics of a song the Japanese made her sing in World War II. The Japanese were always making people sing stuff. That was one of the things that made them the most beloved of the military occupying forces.
I thought that was one of their primary forms of torture.
No.
Forcing people to sing.
It's how they won hearts and minds with the Imperial
Until their throats were dry and cracked. There was not a drop of water to drink.
Oh, sing this on
Yeah.
Oh, sing more beautifully.
You call that a C sharp?
Well, listen, Countess One. If it makes you feel any better, we threw a bunch of them in internment camps and we nuked them. So you're even. I think that's a fair trade. Your grandma had to sing a song, but the Japs got nuked, and we also threw some in internment camps for good measure. There you go. Justice.
Well, they shouldn't have fucked with us.
Right. Well,
that's what happens.
They shouldn't have made Countess's grandma sing. That wasn't fair. My family was in Japan after the war. My family was in Japan during the court of Emperor Meiji. Amazing country. Is she aware of your feelings towards her singing it? I watched something again after some time. It makes more sense. And generally, I don't like to watch something over and over again. Oh no, says Zaylan back. I'm late to the party. Hope everyone is well. You missed the cocktails. You missed hors d'oeuvres. You missed the soup course. You missed salad. You just here in time for the entree, huh? Figure that you're gonna have to leave right after the entree too, huh? I need to watch a movie twice to have seen it, and I barely seen it. Yeah, low SI. Low SI, maybe IDK. That's what Matthew Alistair says. I think you're right. All right, now I scroll all the way down to the bottom. Now I'm going to go back up to where I was. You're going so fast today, everybody. Bye, Sarah Killielly. Rubber chickens for Spacey. Well, geez, I'm so behind.
Eric.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to catch up.
So ICJ and INTJ careful like 90, I guess.
Effie wants validation simply for existing. I'm alive. Validate me. I'm a human being just like you. Don't gush all our emotions out of me, though you self-absorbed fuck. I don't know how to respond to that. Well, it depends. I still don't full understand the Ghost in the Shell TV series, but I understand the movie. I don't understand it. I've never seen it. Everyone grab a weapon. Whoopee cushions at 4 o'clock. Eric, can you talk about the motivation behind FE versus FI from wanting people like them? FI cares about other people. FE cares about other people's things. That cut and dry. Oh, well, I really care about other people's emotions. That is not an FE person. That's an FI person. Oh, I really care what other people think. That's an FE person. Rubber chickens for Spacey. I don't understand, Peter Dentist, says Countess One. My understanding is 0. Have you seen the show Scrubs? I hate that show. That's an SE show.
I hate that show so much, dude. Zach Braff is just...
It's a terrible SE show. That's So Raven, also a terrible show. By Sarah Killy. Peter Dennis, maybe not a pop culture reference because I suck. Ryan, what slot would you say FE is if someone is constantly reading the room, being careful with language, but also constantly afraid of being disliked for no reason? Possibly an ISFJ, possibly an ISTJ is what that sounds like. A little bit.
Yeah, that does. That is what that sounds like. Yep.
Pop culture for the most part sucks. I like that. Ha ha, Sarah Killy, at least says. Supernova uncultured swines. Ryan, that might be age related. Also, not much specific type or associated. Ha ha ha. Can't be the third like the inch piece. Ha ha ha. I don't know why. What is can't be third? Oh, it can't be third. Right. Oh yeah, I see where you're at. Yeah, that is funny actually. No, it cannot definitely not third. Yeah, that just sounds like an anxiety disorder, Ryan. No, it doesn't sound like an anxiety disorder. I understand what that is. I just think it's second slot FE or it's seventh slot FE. If it's second slot, it's because the thing is, it may be true for ISFJs that more likely to be that fear is more likely to be acute in cases where there's been some sort of previous damage or whatever, but I don't think that makes it a disorder. Supernova, even piglets like to dress up and go to the theater. They do not think of themselves as uncultured swine. It was a joke from a meme, from a boat, from a spleen. Feelings in general are neat. Picture this. The camera shows two people arguing. One said something that causes the other person to stop talking, looks slightly to the side, and give a deer in headlights look. I'm picturing it. Okay, I pictured it. Now what? Animal Farm, excellent book. Supernova, so is my favorite tender humor. RR from Toy Story, I think Animal Crossing comfy game. The fourth walk camera then zooms in through the eye and then shows what the thought is to be. Okay, I'm with you so far. My NI likes letters, emails, and reading between the lines. Imagining what's going on the writer's head as she or she is writing the lines. Pretty arrogant too. Is that NI or something else? That's probably NIFE. If you're imagining, if you're thinking, okay, here's why the writer made this choice, what impact they expected it to have, and what impact it actually has. If that's what you're talking about, it's probably NIFE.
Yeah, I agree with that.
What is your view on finger glasses? Well, my fingers all have perfect 20/20 vision right now still, so I don't know. When their vision starts to fail, I'll look into both finger glasses and finger contacts. It's like you turned into a tape recorder. Okay, thank you, Countess, for the song lyrics. Argato, thank you, and now I want sushi. I don't really like sushi that much. It's okay. Intercontinental balloons with explosives on them. What function, Dom, do you think came up with that idea? TE. That's a TE kind of idea. It's like, well, these things float, those things explode, put them together. Dinner was excellent, but everyone kept telling Spacey to put on a shirt. He did not insist on eating tablets. We had Thai food tonight. I took Spacey and Kimberly out to dinner, and he had, well, what did you get? Chicken or something? Some sort of chicken?
I got pad thai.
Oh, you got the pad thai.
Wait, yeah, but pad thai with chicken.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it was good.
I got the curry.
Ooh, Tim doubts my INTP status. What type does he think I am? Yeah,
Ooh, Tim,
let me
doubting.
hear this.
Do you want me to get a mod to ban you? Are you doubting things around here? No doubting allowed. Let's see. I don't see IHP in any way. Not even a little bit of IHP. I don't like reality TV game shows or lame. Dr. Phil is cool though. It was groupthink and brainstorming. Reality TV is boring. Dr. Phil is like sophisticated Ari Springer. What are some INTP behaviors then, Tim? Asks Hambone, who clearly has TI in the first or second slot. Naturally, the question to ask for a TI person is, well, identify the correlates you're looking for so we can test. Yeah, it feels like they've run out of ideas. They sure have, whoever they are. They should go back with a bucket to the idea well. What are the key differences you note of ISFJ versus INFJ? They're quite distinct, actually.
Sometimes they can be pretty hard to distinguish between. I mean,
but you when you start asking detailed questions about the past, you get detailed answers from ISFJ.
that is true. Yeah, that's true.
And that, I guess that's why I say they're pretty easy to, because it's usually the first test I do is the SI-NI test, and usually if they're an ISFJ or an INFJ, I'm going to be honing in on that area right away. But so maybe that's why I think they're more different than they actually are. ISFJs are earthier, INFJs are cooler. INFJs are more metaphysical by a substantial amount and more abstract. ISFJs, when they are abstract, it's because they're sort of enthusiastic about learning. INFJs they feel like they're really only realizing themselves when they're intellectually vigorous to some extent. And then why not all men have honk? Oh, well, because all men can't share one honk. So in English, I don't know if it's your native language. I'm assuming it is, but I used to because sometimes people are from random places, sometimes it's not, But we use the plural noun when you have a plural subject, and so that's it. Just grammatically correct to say honk. So it's interesting. Reality TV on YouTube is not boring, especially if we are sitting on Jose's front porch. Yeah, well, there's not that much room on my front porch. There's currently 41 people here. I don't think I can fit 41 people on my front porch. Last snack and the name of the pet you petted last. The name of the pet I petted last was Pee-Pee. Yeah. Okay. Whatever happened with those people who were supposed to come by our house and shit? You look at the turtle. I forgot all about it.
Yeah. I don't know whatever happened with them, Eric.
Whatever.
Okay.
We'll figure it out later. I mean, did Kimberly come home?
I don't know.
I don't think she came home yet.
I hope so. I don't know.
She's going to come home. I just don't think she's came home yet.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Here, do you want to do an 8 a.m. on Sunday, or is it too early?
No, that's fine.
Okay. Cool.
Thank you for setting that up.
Yeah.
Okay. Real-time no scripts, real-time interaction. I don't think this channel falls under reality TV. There must be a better term for it. There is. It's called live streaming. Thai food, Thai tea, and NI. I asked if you had spring rolls. Yes, we did have spring rolls, actually. Except I refer to them as egg rolls. I don't know if that's what the menu calls them or not, but I think of them as being egg rolls. Do you think we will have a utopian society once the millennials are old and are the ones in power?
No. No.
I mean, first of all, if I were to say yes, it wouldn't be because of the latter thing, which is sort of implied here. You don't actually state that we're going to have utopian society because the millennials are old and are the ones in power. I would say that would not be the reason for the society being utopian if it is utopian. I do think millennials are they're products of a much more informationally rich environment, and it shows. Like, Spacey is a lot more morally, intellectually, and otherwise developed than I was at his age. Because when I was 27, internet had been around for about 5 years. It was still pretty shitty, whatever. Rinlin asks, hey, Eric, now that you have been living with Spacey for a bit, what differences have you seen between the INTP and the ENTP? I'd like to ask Spacey to answer that question.
No, what differences have you seen between... Oh, what differences have I seen between the two types?
I'm going to go get... I'd like you to answer that question, okay. And then I'm going to get coffee. I'll get you a cup of coffee, too, if you want one.
Sweet, yeah.
Can you handle the chair while I making pour us coffee?
Okay. So... I don't know, the first thing that jumps into my head is that Eric will just say things and do things, and he will just be like, oh, I'll always be able to correct it later. That seems to be the NE dominant thing. He's just like, when he's working on his pawn, like, he doesn't even know what he's doing with it until he starts doing it. For me, I'd be sitting there scratching my head like, well, man, I have no idea how to make a pawn, so I better, really think about this and make sure I do it right. And I may spend so much time figuring out how to perfect it that I never get started, or I take forever to get started, so that it's like winter rolls around, then I have to wait until next summer again or some shit. I don't know. So he's definitely way more action based. He's way more prone to like repeatedly doing things and repeatedly trying to do things until he finally gets just the right solution that he wants. Whereas I guess I have a tendency to do that sometimes, but I guess at this point in my life, I tend to just be like, good enough. Serves whatever purpose I want it to. I don't really care. He seems to ironically get a lot more attached to things, even though he's got FI in the 7th slot. I'm not exactly sure if I can suss out why that is. Like, I feel like my FI is pretty good sometimes, but it's definitely not good when it comes to actually getting an emotional attachment to things or getting satisfaction out of things or being motivated to do things. Eric definitely is a lot more passionate than I am. But I guess part of what he says about me being more, intellectually and morally developed, whatever that means to him, is probably just because it's just a consequence of me being more emotionally detached from everything and basically spending most of my time sitting around and not doing much of anything, just listening to music and just thinking about shit while mindlessly playing video games or maybe not really doing anything at all. Very inactive until somebody basically comes by and goes, "Yo, we got something to do. I need your help." I'll be like, "Oh, cool." Or, "Yo, we're going to go have fun. You want to have fun with us?" And I'll be like, "Hey, cool." People usually bring me around because I'll make them laugh and shit. I think I have a bit more of like a refined sense of humor than Eric does. He's much more free with his jokes. Like he'll find a joke pretty much anywhere, and he'll just keep it going, and he'll find a lot of different things to laugh at. I guess I'm a little bit harder to amuse. What else was I gonna say? Shit. Oh yeah, his taste in music is funny. Like he has a very, very specific idea of what he believes makes music good, and so I'm a lot less picky about something. I just have a certain thing that I'm going for, like a good guitar riff or whatever. I'll be like, okay, I can listen to this, because I quickly get bored of whatever music I already have. So I just want more like it.
We're talking about differences.
Yeah.
I would say, in general, one of the differences is INTP is wiser. ENTP is just generally sort of a more tactical person. Like, so.
Yeah, I'm not tactical.
Right.
That was a good point. Is that really demonstrative TE? Is that the tactician, or?
I mean, I don't think I'm.
Or what?
I mean, I am. I'm a decent tactician. I'm just saying, like, that tactical quality goes in contrast to, is somehow exclusive of wisdom. Like, wisdom is more strategic. If you don't want to be really the best field general. If you want to have any say over whether or not you actually win the war.
Right.
If you get what I'm saying. So it's like IHP has the capacity to have a lot more impact on whether or not you actually win the war, even though EHP might have more capacity to win a battle.
It's a pretty good way of framing things. Yeah, I guess. I like that.
Bangington says he has an idea for a gang loosely inspired by the channel. I think it's a great idea, whatever it is. Peanuts, buddy. You're my peanuts, buddy. Boy, you're running a lot of risk if you're going to say that.
Oh my god.
Like,
Hey, do you by any chance? When was the last time you took a bath with your dad?
me?
You ever heard of that shower with your dad simulator game?
No.
That's so fucking weird, dude.
Okay. Gen X made amazing music. A few people in Generation X did, I guess.
When would Gen X have been making music? 90s?
I'm doing it right now.
Are you Gen X? Yeah, I guess you are, aren't you? Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
I'm making a lot better music right now than I ever did in the 90s.
I would say Gen X made pretty good music. Well, I like 90s music in general.
Why are you past tensing me? Why do the younger generation want to past tense me?
Well, no, what I'm saying is most of your generation made the bulk of their popular music when they were more in their 20s or something. Right?
Yeah, sure. It was a good era, I guess.
That's what I'm saying.
Young people music. It was a pretty good era.
That's what I'm talking about. Obviously, you can still be making music, but it's not super relevant.
Right. I'm not going to be relevant anymore. Wonderful. Thank you, Spacey.
You're welcome.
That's going to be fourth slot, FE, and third slot. I probably avoid saying that. Let's see here.
Well, listen, now that you have a young guy, you can be relevant.
Right. That's right.
See?
See, I actually knew that already.
You did know that already.
Slam jokery. Nobody listened to this man. He's Typology Hitler. Who? Where? Where is Typology Hitler? Oh, me?
You're the type Nazi.
I'm a big fan of doom metal, Black Sabbath, Candlemass, Witchfinder, General Pagan, Altar, etc.
Oh, good shit, buddy. I love doom metal.
Isn't honk being used as a verb, though?
Someone asked when I started singing. I mean, I don't know. I started singing when I was a kid. When did you start singing? You know, I mean, I guess I started doing chorus in like elementary school, and I realized that I was actually like good. I guess at that point.
Well, the answer for philosophy is that it doesn't make sense. It's just technically, literally correct if you're just doing the mechanics of the TI and not thinking about what the words mean at all, which is what TI does in some sense, right? I can go, if A, then B, and if B, then C, A, therefore C. It doesn't matter, or I can put words in there. It doesn't matter, right? The same mechanical process occurs. And so the point is, not asking those kind of questions that you're asking means you're only processing it on a literal mechanical level, literal TI level. If you do ask those kind of questions you're asking, then you're saying, but FI considerations. Way to ruin it, guys. What did I ruin it? Sounds like any tool is whatever. TI tool is more wanting the thing perfect. No, that's me. It's me and my specifically aspirational NI. I did not used to want things perfect. When he's talking about me wanting things perfect, and it's mostly with him being here too, but although with music it's come slowly after lots of attempts and continuing efforts to make stuff, and sort of realizing I need to realize the vision more perfectly if I'm going to get people to appreciate it. I haven't showered with my dad since right now. Tiberius Mononoke is somebody who is, I guess you'd call it a hater or something. I guess it's, I don't know who it is exactly, but somebody.
Yeah, why you such a dick, bro?
He's Gen X, just has the disease where he looks way older than he is.
Oh, first of all, I mean,
it's pretty good. The thing is,
unfair.
I have been. I got a senior citizen discount the other day at the weed store. The lady's like, "I think you look old enough, and it's in my discretion, so I'm choosing to give you the senior citizen discount." And I was like, "Well, thanks," because that is, I didn't have to misrepresent myself at all. But if they ask me if I'm eligible for it, I say no. Do I look 65? I guess. Apparently.
Whatever, man.
Yeah. But fortunately, my body is 48 years old, and so is my mind, and my wrinkles are actually 48. They've just been working harder than the rest of me. How did I know you were going to make your grand entrance again with that comment? Lol at Matthew. Oh, what was his grand entrance? Zandy. Was that his grand entrance? Honk means squanch.
Squanch.
IGBs are reflexive rather than conscious deliberate tacticians due to fifth-slot TE and better suited operations and grand strategy. Okay, I tend to agree with that. Relevance is a sliding scale. No, that's not true. No, rhetorical slope is a sliding scale, but relevance is a binary element within that larger sliding scale. But a very interesting observation, though wrong. Anyway, Steve Dondolinger. Hang in here. No, I'll be sure to check them out. Honk if you drive by and wave to Spacey and host Eric eating his peanuts.
Yeah. Oh, Electric Wizard, dude, is my shit. They are so heavy. They're heavier than your fucking mom.
And she is heavy. Okay. I will sing, but only in front of my friends. Okay. So you guys have to continue staying there. I got to perform tonight on a stage in front of thousands of people. If you friends aren't standing here in front of me, I'm not going to be able to do it. Like that. So then why wouldn't it be have honk instead of have honks with an S if it's just the mechanics? Because the original Thursday was all honk. Now, see, there's a TI question. Now, that's an excellent TI question. You're really trying to get me down on a technicality here. You might even be right. Now you're doing some TI work.
See, I don't get any pleasure out of doing that much TI.
I don't either. Yeah. I don't give a fuck.
But
maybe I was wrong. I don't care. Whatever. The point was what she didn't say. What she didn't say was all men are honks. Or all men are honk. She said have. That's what I was trying to make the distinction of. Because the have was in a weird place. So it shouldn't have been there. It was a mistake when I was asking the question. But it wasn't actually a mistake. Well, for a variety of reasons, it wasn't a great question, obviously. But regardless, just like in that episode of Futurama where that one Jamaican dude says, "You're technically right, which is the best kind of right."
Right. Yeah. I love that dude.
Yeah.
I love that show, man. Damn.
Let's see here. Spacey knows what's up, says CJ O'Connell.
Yeah. Oh, Weed Eater, too. Check those dudes out if you like Electric Wizard. And Acid King.
Tim Bulwer says, check out Steel Panther. Stoner Doom, Funeral Doom. Stoner Doom and Funeral Doom are two subgenres.
Oh, there's so many subgenres. There's subgenres. You know?
Let's see.
I don't like the funeral shit.
Like, okay, there's regular Funeral Doom. There's elaborate Funeral Doom. Yeah, there's Eastern European Funeral Doom.
The French variety.
There's cremation Funeral Doom, and then there's urn, and then there's scatter over the ocean Funeral Doom. Let's see. What type is most known for acting before thinking? Types of expert thinking in their stacks? No. Lolo LV types most known for acting before thinking are ESFPs, ESTPs, ENTPs, and ENFPs. Because they are the action types. Now, note that gets us all the action types get them into trouble. And as action types get older, they develop better discretion and better impulse control. And that happens without any medication or anything. It just happens by getting older. They want me to go to karaoke with them, but nope, says Supernova. Fuck yeah, nope. perfect pronunciation, but I feel that relevance is a sliding scale because it depends on the audience what is relevant to you. No, it links back to the proposition, which is to say the resolution, as we say in debate, namely the statement being debated about, which sets the ground for the debate. Relevance is only a term that's relevant in argumentation. Namely, if some case is being made for something in some fashion, then justifications for the affirmation. Remember, every argument has two sides and they're distinct, affirmation and negation. To affirm something is to affirm a position statement. To negate that is not necessarily to affirm the opposite of it, right? You can negate in a lot of different ways. To affirm, you have a burden to affirm. You've got to establish, you've got to establish what you're saying. So because every dispute and every debate occurs about something, they don't occur about nothing. And because they occur between parties, they don't occur between no parties. Relevance is always binary, and it's always linked to the thing being debated about, not to either of the parties. Now, it is true that rhetorical slope is a sliding scale. Rhetorical slope refers to, in general, how easy something is to prove. So if I go to a UFO conference, which is full of people who are all into alien life and stuff, it's going to be very easy for me to prove to them position statements that affirm the existence of aliens. It's going to be very difficult for me to prove to them position statements that negate the existence of aliens, because that audience is primed to bias the slope of the rhetoric in favor of one side of the debate. And so in that regard, you're right that rhetorical slope, which is a composite term, it includes lots of different things, that is not binary, it's sliding scale. And that does link to the audience. That's where FI comes in. FI basically, a pure TI approach to something, a pure TI any approach to something, the rhetorical slope of the arguments being made by somebody who's not being influenced by FI or FE at all is going to be almost exactly the same as the actual rhetorical slope of it, as determined by objective sort of survey kind of thing or whatever. Whereas somebody who's more FI, the slope's going to be skewed from what it actually is. They're going to deviate from that because the bias implicit in having interests means you want it to be one way or the other. Okay. I need to watch more pew-pew-pews. I need to watch more typing sessions and have a typing session myself. Well, in Barnes.
I strongly suggest it.
I do. I strongly suggest it as well. And you can email us at stuartsire@gmail.com or call me on this telephone here if you want to talk spacey and set something up. My weekends are, we've got typing sessions on both days, but I'd love to fill up those days if we could. Supernova, when it is your turn to sing, turn off the mic volume and pretend you are singing. Good idea. Can you have an INFJ that is earthy, caretaker, in an ISFJ way, or an ISFJ that has metaphysical interest in spirituality in UAG, which is more likely? ISFJs are typically fairly resistant to any kind of NI magic-y kind of metaphysical shit.
Yeah.
You're more likely to have an INFJ that at least displays as earthy caretaker. I would say earthy caretaker is a character in INFJ's repertoire.
Oh, certainly.
More than spiritual metaphysicalist is a character in ISFJ's repertoire.
I would agree with that, yeah.
Lamau, says Luke Eden.
Excellent comment. 5 stars.
Lolo LV says, I'm an INFJ. Okay. Winston's mom, I like the behind the scenes drama. Well, behind these scenes, there's a lot of drama, let me tell you. It's weird because I loved being in the talent shows when I was a kid, but I never sang. You always stripped? I didn't know they let you do stripping as a talent when you were a kid. Daria Nardi said in his studies, left-handed sensor show intuitive vampires. Daria Nardi can fucking... I'm trying to say about Daria Nardi. Why don't you try to schedule on Google Busy on all day to look forward to you telling me, oh, we gotta fix that. You just ignore that calendar.
Yeah, ignore the calendar, everybody.
I need to get rid of it or fix it or something. I don't know. Watch the Melissa McCarthy video with Barbara Streisand. She thinks she can't sing either. Barbara knew better. It was Barbara who couldn't sing. If I was in a band, I would want to play the drums. Drums are fun. Drums are hard.
I feel like I can't do the drums because I can't focus on using my hands and my feet at the same time. That's what I struggle with.
They're hard. Yeah. Debate seems a TE way of learning? No, that's crazy. I mean, it's all about conditionality. This is how I teach debate. These are the arguments we're running. Now, look, here are all the possible ways I could think of that they might dispute this. If they run this, then run this. If they run that, then run this. If they run this, then respond with this. But if they run this with this, then respond with this because it's going to have this explanation as to why. Now, look, they're trying to run this. Probably. If they don't, then you got to go fall back to your other thing. That's all conditionality shit. Every bit of it is conditionality. Yeah. And it doesn't matter what the actual meaning of things are. The only thing you're trying to do is win. What's the youngest Generation X right now? I would say that would be like born in 78, so 7 years younger than me, like 40 probably. The youngest Gen Xer is probably 41.
40. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Gemini, I don't know if Gemini will take those that I care about, like an ISFJ, but only as long as there's mutual respect and consideration. Once I feel disrespected or taken advantage of, then I'm like, fuck these guys. Fuck these guys, I'm going home. Why am I eating hot Cheetos this hour? Well, you didn't finish the bag earlier, I guess. Rhetorical slippery slope and the illogical fallacy that muddies the water. I love Dario Nardi. Why don't you marry him then? Lolo Lelvi, good night. We will miss you. What? That's a funny comment. Listen, well, hard to say. EXFP? Who? Nardi? I think he's. I don't know.
He could be an ENFP. I can see that.
Yeah, I can see that. How rare is a left-handed INFJ? I have no idea. I've not done any sort of studies or thoughts or even asked people about handedness ever. I could. I could start asking everybody, what handed are you? Just I'm sort of keeping track. And that'd be maybe worth doing. But I don't think either space here has the wherewithal to actually just enter that small piece of data over and over and over again every typing we're going to.
I mean, we'd have to have, maybe we could start putting together a questionnaire with some weird things
I tried that before. I tried it before. You know what I discovered? I don't want to read your questionnaire.
Yeah.
I don't care about your questionnaire. I just start talking to you and figure it out.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. It's just if we wanted to track a statistic, we would have to do it.
Yeah, we'd have to have some tea. You hate dairy, but it's made out of milk.
How can you freaking hate dairy? God.
I love your song, Gabi
Hot Cheetos.
Thank you.
Ultimate snack food. Oh, thank you. Yeah.
And Barnes, you get lots of points for that.
It's a great song.
Thank you,
I like it too.
I saw a picture of hot Cheetos in milk like cereal. Disturbing.
Ooh, that would be pretty good.
That sounds disgusting.
That'd be fine. No, you shouldn't.
I'm meant to be earthy nut, but I feel more airy. I sing harmonies with it, trying anyway. Yeah, well, we're gonna get some harmonies when it gets spacey in the next summit. Fossology, are you still going on about this honking and the horns and the thing? I mean, I do not already concede defeat. What more do you want? Or do you need to have an appointment for typing in advance, or can I just email you and go do typing today? If I'm around and available and you email me and Spacey goes, hey, you want to go right now?
Yeah.
I almost always say, yeah, let's do it right now. I prefer it like that, you know? But I'm probably done for tonight. I'm not going to do anything else tonight after this live stream. But I mean, tomorrow I got one. What time do I have one?
Tomorrow we got one at 11.
Okay.
We've got one at 2.
Okay.
And then I think we got one at 8 on Sunday. So
yeah, so like if you
rest of it's open.
If you had call in the morning, like 8 a.m. Pacific time, 9, well, I'd probably see. They're not gonna get a whole space. Basically, gonna get up to like 10 or 11. So, but if you call me and
Well, it depends. I kind of want to be up for the one on Sunday.
all right, well, look, like let's say homie calls me tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. You want me to wake you up?
Sure, yeah.
All right. Yeah. So I mean, I'm gonna be up. I'm always up early. Okay. Alexandra Cruz's dad taught her the drums, also the keyboard. Cool people only want to play the maracas. You got a point there. I think the world would be much improved if we put all ESFPs on an island there. Low LV.
What?
I am not approving of this typological ontology assault fest of yours.
Oh, you know what though? Who would we have to go binge drinking with?
I've done it too. Low. I've also made fun of ESFPs and some other types too, and I generally regret it because as I go around typing people nowadays, and I meet nice ESFP, nice ESTP, nice whatever, I realize, Eric, you're just projecting your own particular experience with like one person onto this whole group of people, and it's bullshit. And you really do not say those sort of things. You're gonna make people feel bad about themselves, and it's totally lies you're saying. There's nothing wrong with ESFPs. It's just they tend to rub a lot of them tend to rub a lot of people wrong. But we typed a great ESFP the other day. She was fantastic, and I really enjoyed typing her. And
she was super fun. Yeah,
I really hope she does collaborate with me on the dance. I need to make a song now that has like more dancey song and
you gotta have a real dirty beat.
Right, yeah, we'll come up with a song for this person, and just because she's agreed to help me with the music video and dance to the song. That's all she said she'd do, and I said, okay, well, let's do it. I wanted that. People who are down, you gotta appreciate people who are down. And there's not really anybody quite as down as an ESFP.
Well, I'll settle for people who are up as well.
Right. Do all ENTP types learn audibly? I believe so, yeah. I believe orally, technically, AURALLY. But yeah, it's a very, very much it's as languagey a type as you're going to get along with INTPs and INFJs. And INFJs are really a little less languagey, but they come across as almost as languagey. They're as languagey from a different angle. What do you think a relationship with INFJ woman and ENFJ man looks like? Can you shed some light? Do you have any answer to that question?
There's an INFJ woman and an ENFJ man. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that, to be honest.
Right. The neighbors, there's two neighbors, right? ENFJ woman, ESFJ man.
Right.
It's like the closest I've seen to that.
Right. Well, the INFJ woman, the ENFJ man would just be.
It's like Parker or Nick.
What? Where would the conflict be there? Really?
Well, I mean, the conflict would be.
It's the same. They get along pretty well, right? Because we get along pretty well.
Yeah, it's the same as us.
Yeah, I mean,
it probably should be fine.
Probably be fine. I mean, there just wouldn't be maybe a ton of growth there. Maybe, I don't know.
I'm beginning to think that maybe the best relationship for an ENTP is an INTP chick.
Maybe, yeah.
Because maybe it wouldn't have the potential to really like resonate in my soul so deeply or something. But I bet we wouldn't fight.
Yeah, you wouldn't fight.
I bet we get along great.
But you know what they say is the best couples do fight.
Is that who's the best?
Yeah, that's something. I don't know. There's some. I guess I don't know if it's right. Maybe it's just a stupid meme, but they do say that if you never have any disagreements with your partner, then you're not really trying hard enough.
I think INTPs and ENTPs will have disagreements as romantic partners, but they'll just resolve them quickly and easily.
Right. Yeah. Probably. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think INTP is the best partner for INTP, probably, but I don't know.
Oh no. INTP needs ENTP. Because ENTP is such a wonderful type.
Right. That is. Well, actually, yeah, we would never do anything if it was just two INTPs. I guess. Huh?
Tom Jickelson, MFW. Eric likes Spacey more than his sociopathic girlfriend. Oh,
Holy shit! You know what? I have to hand it to you for that dirty jab, man.
Tom Jickelson, I don't even have anything to say about that.
That was dirty. That was some NI.
I don't feel
straight to the heart shit. What type is this dude?
I mean, normally I might be offended or something, but that's just good cold.
Yeah,
that's just good work there. It's just excellent work. You know, what can I say?
And dirty.
I'll tell you the conflict being that I'm an INFJ with an ENFJ sister, and she cannot put up with the extent to which FE is sacrificed for TI. Oh, I see. Yeah, that might be a point of conflict. But I gotta tell you, ENFJs do not necessarily, they're not afraid to sacrifice some FE for some TI too. I had a very interesting, I'm so glad this is relevant, so I was able to bring it up. It didn't occur to me, I wasn't thinking about it at all. But now I get to talk about the fact that guess who I had a text conversation with today.
Oh, right.
It's very relevant because she's an ENFJ who was in this conversation sacrificing FE for TI. And that person would be the queen of brows herself, Megan LaBoda. Yes, Megan LaBoda texted me. And she said, I agree with you about C.S. Joseph. And she wasn't nice about it towards him, in the text. She was definitely sacrificing FE. Yeah, and she did that in the comments publicly too on the video before it was taken away. So it's not like she was just doing it behind the scenes. She did it out public too. So it goes to show you, ENFJs are not necessarily afraid to sacrifice FE for TI, especially when they
much
feel
more likely to do it than ESFJs are.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
That's why I think some of those talking head scientists are ENFJs. They have like the interest in TI to get into it, but they're also very good at being public figures, spokespeople for science or whatever.
I want to hear this thing here. First of all, Desert INTJ says, how well would an INTJ INFJ relationship work? I don't think well, because INFJ tool function with polar is a good idea.
That would be some clashing right there.
Alexander Cruz, I'm interested in this comment. Two, I've never been in an argument with an ENTP. All of them have a very lax approach event when they're fighty. What does that mean? A very lax approach event.
I think if you just nix event, it makes sense. But
approach event almost sounds like a term of art that refers to how easy it is to get somebody out of fighting mode and into cooperation mode.
She meant even, I think. Even when they're fighting.
Oh.
I think that makes more sense.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I usually assume there's a typo or something when...
See, we've talked about this before. I assume people mean what they say.
Yeah.
So I think, that sounds like a term of art I've not heard before.
Yeah.
An approach event being
right.
Like one party who's in a fight with somebody says, okay, I'm going to make a peace offering, then the other person accepts it or whatever. A very lax approach event would be then saying, I will accept any approach event as a peace offering.
No, for me, I'm actually seeing very lax approach event, and then overlaid over it are a bunch of other images of other similar sentence structures and right. I'm like, which one matches? Oh, okay, this is what it is. But
well, I've created a new term of art now out of a typo. And then they go, oh, then it was just meant even. Oh, okay, never mind.
I don't know. I find it hard to believe that you've never had an argument with an ENTP, but that's great.
But I think there does need that term of event. I'm trying to refer to it, but I'm talking about it from now on. Am I giving up on duality? No. Well, Let's move on. I think it depends on the individual. INFJ can work with most types, not ESTJ though. Yeah, INFJ ENTP would be a good pairing. INTP ENTP would be a good pairing. ISFJ with ENTP should be a good pairing. Lolo LV agrees with you, Matthew. Well, Lolo LV, that's dangerous. When you're agreeing with Matthew, you're really running afoul of some risk there. Doing nothing together is doing something together, says Peter Dentist, spoken like an introvert. She's not afraid to do it, but it's the extent ENFJs are so overly Paul that they. Where did it say that? Where was I? God damn it, I lost my goddamn place again. ENFJs are so overly Paul they seem fake as shit. I don't want to talk any more shit about ENFJs at all because it depends on the ENFJ, obviously. Every communication I've had with Megan, be it in the comments or by text or whatever, she's actually seemed quite genuine and human. You know, the complaint I've had about ENFJs in the past is they don't show you a lot of actual vulnerability, right? Or I guess you could say ambiguity, inner conflict. Maybe she's just mastered that FP skill. Maybe she just learned some shit from some INFJs. But regardless, it works, you know. So I'm not gonna talk any more shit about ENFJs. Out of respect for Megan Lovato, nothing else.
Damn, all right. I like that. Some G shit.
I reject dual relations. I think there is a disparity between the number of people in different types. I think within temperament is preferable. Within temperament? What? I don't know what you mean by. Is that? Can you explain what you mean by temperament? Eric's fresh texted back. Hey, she texted me first. I didn't text her back.
Temperament usually refers to like NT, NF.
Oh, okay.
That kind of.
There won't be enough of one type in relation to their dual. Right. That's true. Right. Ruminations.
Yeah,
I mean, but there's no reason to presume a just world in which things are structured such that you should be with people such that everybody actually has somebody to be with. It's the right kind of person. Hello, world and population. Walter Wiseman says. Countess One says, last time I dated an INTJ was a nightmare. He was a nightmare, but another INTJ was easier today. I am also an INTJ. I was going to catch that one. I figured you weren't an INTK. Megan Lovato, did her eyebrows also text you? No, her eyebrows did not. They continue to ignore my texts. Walter Wiseman says, I respect Megan for that. Me too. Megan probably can see us shows us my new favorite story.
Yeah, I like that development too. Yeah.
And Barnes says, I don't know what that means. Megan's smart, but I'm not so sure about her politics. I don't care about her politics. She's a nice lady. I like her. She seems real to me, and she's nice, and I like her. I mean, it's not like I watch her videos. I'm not saying, and I'm sure she doesn't watch mine. And she says something in the text like, referring not to one of my videos, but something else. Like, I just don't really need that much any. But, I feel the same way about making videos. It's a lot of NI, and it's NI tool, and I feel like she's saying things that are mostly well considered, and mostly right or rightish, but I'm not a consumer of that media, I guess. Although I will watch this to look at her brows sometimes, just to have a little bit of a brow moment. It's kind of let it play, and then the moment when she arches them, a certain way, I just freeze frame and just pretend I'm petting them on the screen like this. Hambo and everybody do not have too much fun with CSC is fragile. So I'm not having any fun with them at all anymore. I'm done talking about them.
I want to have some fun with them.
The only thing I will say is people bring it up and I give my opinion about it or whatever. Anyone else think most borderline females are really just ENFPs? No, I don't think that. Borderline personality disorder or other attachment disorders are real things. They're not like ADHD and ODD and other shit like that. And they're real things that are basically ontological scar tissue causing problems for people in their adulthood. And it stems from traumatic childhood, and people get fucked up for life by traumatic childhood. Someone I was chatting with trying to make an argument for Megan being ESFP, and I thought Megan is not an Megan is an
No, she's
ENFJ.
not.
She is the poster child for ENFJ for sure. The shame and blame game is not nice, smart, or wise. Calling it out and intellectual dishonesty, right? I don't want to. I'm not interested in shaming or blaming him any further than I already have. I didn't really blame him for anything. I just said, yeah. I don't want to rub. I believe in redemption, first of all. Now, I don't expect C.S. Joseph to have any interest in or pursue redemption at all, but when I condemn something, I'm condemning behaviors. I'm trying not to condemn people. And I guess I've internalized for either because however I got there, even though I was raised atheist, I definitely internalized the notion that forgiveness leads to absolution. So and remorse and regret and acknowledgement of wrongdoing leads to forgiveness. So that's how it was in my house. That when you were honest and admitted what you did was wrong, you were treated lovingly and respected for that. And so I internalized that value. That basically people ought to be given chances. People ought not try to blame each other and shame each other for mistakes. As long as the parties acknowledge what they did and are honestly trying to be a good person, a good teammate, a good whatever, and then there shouldn't be that kind of blame and shaming. It's one of the big things that I tried to make clear with Becky when that shit went down was I am not trying to condemn her or shame her or anything. I'm saying she made some mistakes, but what I was trying to condemn her and shame her for was refusing to talk to me about things honestly and fairly and like non-adversarially. That bothered me because it means you're my enemy. You won't talk to me non-adversarially. Nobody said shit about C.S. Joseph. Everyone's talking about other things tonight. It just happened to come up briefly. Ain't no big deal. She's not ESFP. Well, who is not ESFP, Alex Light? My mom. Yeah, I know, Hambone. I got you. Look, we can make those arguments. I think you can sustain those affirmations as well. That in fact the right thing to do is to see him incur the natural consequences of his bad behavior or something. You can win that argument, but I'm pretty FI sensitive at this point, and I'm going to err on the side of Winston's mom. It's not that I feel it; it's that I'm intellectually aware of it, and I understand the long game argumentation. I guess you could say. But I feel you, dog. I feel you, dog. I feel you, dog. I feel you, dog. What do you feel? Me, you, feel, dog. Cowbell, stretch the trombone. A lot of you YouTubers use typology as a business. I do. I mean, I'm petting people. I mean, it's a fair price for the products people get. It's like I'm not trying to maximally monetize. There are typologists out there who say, send me a 10 or 15 minute long video and I'm going to send you this little report or a video reply. The whole thing takes them 30 minutes maybe. It's very smart business. But I'm more of a craftsman than a businessman, frankly. I'm more of an artist than a businessman. And typology, we'd like it to be science, but there's a lot of art to it, Spacey and I, the team, are pretty fucking damn good typologists.
I'd like to think so, yeah.
We can type the fuck out of people. I mean, I feel like we're always right when we get to the end, and most of the time the person agrees with us, and I can lay out the whole case for it, and we can say, well, you said these answers in this way, and when you start to do it enough times, you start to feel like, oh shit, this is pretty definitive. This whole process, this thing really does produce the information you need to really give the answer.
I mean, to be fair, sometimes I feel like we do kind of have to stumble into the right question or thing to say that prompts the right.
We're both waiting for the
response,
NI to settle on. I said earlier today, I think it's the blind leading the sighted. I think my ignoring NI misdirects Spacey's attention down certain paths with my questioning.
Maybe I should keep that in mind.
But yeah,
I think it's possible that we could be wrong, but if we are, it's going to take someone who, knows at least as much as we do to prove us wrong. I mean, if I'd like to be proven wrong, but
the other thing is we go and say, okay, you're this type, but I'm also thinking in my head, if somebody's going to successfully attack my case that they are type X, then their best angle of attack would be type Y or type Z. If they were to argue type Y, they would say, well, these answers here were actually indicative of this. Eric, you misinterpreted this. And they'd have a reasonably good case. But they have to ignore this, this, and this. Now, if they were to say that you were this type Z, then they'd have to go this angle. They'd have a reasonable case on this angle, but they'd have to ignore meow, meow, meow. And so ultimately, because this one has to ignore the fewest things and matches the most things, it's the best case based on all the data in front of us, which is all your answers and all of our interactions.
One thing I will say is you're always better at actually, like you and I notice the same things, or more or less, but you're always better at actually having I don't know, I guess like a TE explanation for how what I'm seeing actually operates or something. I guess I can't really explain things so well, even if I see them.
Somewhat experienced and somewhat I'm a teacher too.
Right.
But I think as you do it more, the thing is, I've been doing it a lot. You've probably been doing it a lot sort of independently.
Right, I have been. That's why I'm decent at it. But
when you do it as a formalized thing like this, it's a little bit different, right?
Right.
And you kind of remember them better.
Kind of. I mean, I do a lot better at kind of an analytical role. I like to prompt you if you ever stop talking or something, and then just get back to listening. But
right, I think maybe Spacey would like to be included a little bit more in the mix, but I always feel a sense of it's nice to be able to say, okay, let me pull off of this turnout here,
right,
and breathe a few minutes and sort of just muse over what I've heard. Spacey, can you take over questioning for a couple of minutes? That's very helpful for me to let my NI do something.
Yeah, that's cool.
What was the story with Becky? I think I missed that episode. Well, basically, we had some conflict here when she was here at the summer camp, staying at the house with us, and I wanted to sort of call her out on some bad behavior, and she kind of freaked out and ran away. And then I made some video about like, well, this is what happened, and then everyone got mad at me, but whatever, it doesn't matter. It's long. There's all water under the bridge. That just doesn't bug me that much. I don't get weighed down too much by those kind of FE considerations because I know by now, having done this for such a long time, shit blows over and is forgotten about quickly enough. The only thing I tell my BF is to tell me the truth, even if it's some sort of emotional vulnerability. Yeah, it's about trust, Alexandra, right? You want your partner to trust you enough to be vulnerable with you. If they trust you enough to be vulnerable with you, they're saying, I'm putting myself in your hands now. You're going to treat me nicely, right? You want to be tight. Winston's mom.
Toy, like a toy.
Your 20s are long gone. You should charge for astrology readings. I mean, if you're good at it, you probably could.
Yeah, totally.
I might not put a lot of weight into astrology as something you can make cases out of because you can't really defend argumentation that you make about that. But, I do recognize that it comes with its own body of knowledge, and some people know a lot about it and some people don't. Like, Stacey and I typed this astrologer, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, INFJ guy, and he knew a lot of stuff about it. I mentioned something I heard, he knew all about it and told me about it and everything. So I'm into the best psychic on YouTube is Linda G, the psychic Comanche smart lady with common sense who reads and retreats in Sedona. I have a few guitars, one bass guitar, drum set. He's ISTJ, so he tends to keep his frustrations and as I go all F.E. Hulk on, which he needs to bring the dishes out of him. What type are you, Alexandra? ESPs are my favorite. It's never a dull moment for me with them. I think they like me too. What are you, Countess? INFJ, INTJ? I like hanging out with both those types, so everything's going too fast. Okay. Right, until CSJ goes after your friends again, then go. Well, probably not. I mean, they'll sort of stay on. They'll be YouTube standard sensitive. If all Erics are ENTPs and all ENTPs are cheese eaters and all cheese eaters are famous people, what can we conclude from that? All Erics are famous people. That high awareness is like Jack Sparrow's compass, or simply someone in the comments who recognizes someone from their family. Is this CSJ thing not over yet? Well,
I guess it is.
I'm not ever thinking about it until people bring it up in here.
Yeah, he's never going to continue it because that's bad for him.
Yeah, he's not going to continue it, and I don't care enough.
Right.
But people would be more inclined to go with typology. I mean, the weird thing is, different people have different responses to typing, but one that I've gotten a fair amount of, with and without, before Spacey and also recently with Spacey, is there are some people who genuinely feel a great sense of gratification, satisfaction, fulfillment in getting these answers, having them be definitive, having them be defensible, and feeling like they know, okay, like the CSP lady was very much like, I feel lost, I need to know what I am, and, when we told her and that she was not, as she'd been typed before, an ESTJ, but an ESTP, she indicated she felt like, I feel like I'm at home, I know this is right, that's gratifying for me on an FE level. It's like, wow, this person really actually feels like they really, really got their money's worth.
Well, yeah, that was gratifying to me too. Well, I mean, and I guess for me, I wasn't even really thinking about the money, although that is a consideration. But it's also that like we may have actually helped this person change their life for the better.
Right,
it's going to be worth way more than $100.
Right. A lot of people really need to be told there's nothing wrong with you.
Right.
I really needed to be told that when my AA sponsor told me that after I was out of AA, but then I wasn't talking to him anymore. When he told me that, it made me sob. It was something that I had never even considered as a possibility. What happened to Zachary? Zachary has a kid now, I believe. He lives in the South somewhere, Kentucky, if I remember correctly. And he married this, or at least he impregnated, I don't know if they married or not, but he impregnated this chick named Faith, who's an ISTJ chick that he started going out with shortly after he started working on the channel. He's an INTP, so basically he did some videos and he realized, this is a lot of SE.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, see you later. How much per session? It's $100 for an hour. We usually go a little over an hour. The things say 75 minutes, so I need to go back and change those. I had to make it an hour. It's not because I want to make sure we don't go over an hour. It's just sometimes an hour is enough. Sometimes it requires 75 minutes. It's about somewhere, but it doesn't really require, like today.
I'd say the average is probably an hour, maybe a little less.
But today, don't you think, though, today that conversation was properly timed at 75 minutes when we ended it?
Oh, no, I do agree with you. That's usually
it depends on the type, right? That talky types, you need 75 minutes.
Yeah.
Quieter types, ISFPs, you need 45 minutes.
Right, maybe. Yeah, that's funny how that works.
But so anyway, officially it's 60. Everybody gets your full 60. If you go, well, the way I heard was 75, then you get 75. Whatever. So yeah, it's $100 an hour basically. And money well spent, I believe. But you get mine and Spacey's full and serious attention as typologists, and two NTPs giving you their full and serious intellectual force of their intellect. Well, you're gonna be, especially two NTPs who are trying to work toward the same goal together, which is not necessarily always going to be common. You're really going to have a lot of pure processing power, plus with these two, a lot of knowledge and experience going into typing. We're probably going to get it right, especially since we're both very skeptical types. And it's been for me, and I chose the word because of what Angier says. I think the skepticism comes from the sun signs and horoscopes.
I like this guy.
I think skepticism comes from the sun sign horoscopes is the most fucking hilarious sentence I think I've heard in a long time. Are you sure that Becky's not an INTJ? Becky is an ENTP, just like me. Immanuel Kant joke? Where's your Immanuel Kant joke? Zachary has joined the war and plans to move to Norway to philosophize. That's an Immanuel Kant joke? I didn't get it, but I like it. I don't know if I heard someone else say that before or not. Credit will go where the wind does. What did you say, Hambone? I missed it. Oh, FI awareness is like Jack Sparrow's compass. I don't know what Jack Sparrow's compass is like. That's why I didn't comment on that. I've never seen that movie. Can telling a bunch of cheesy jokes a pseudo supplement as a holdover until one would get their fix? I don't know. It's much like the MBTI descriptions, which are rather generalized. Spacey, do you have any shirts with a collar? I know, Spacey. Come on.
Actually, at the moment, I do in fact have one shirt with a collar.
Okay. There you go. Hi, Eric says you can call me Mike. Well, you can call me Mike. Hi, says Eric in response. Everything goes so fast.
You have too many fans.
I know a few that would love to slob. I'm just going to not read it anymore. CSJ shit. In terms of the caller, sounds a lot like ISTJs. You're right, Zandy. Eric and Spacey has potential to be the best buddy cop duo. Okay.
But who's the bad cop?
I guess I'd have to be the bad cop.
Okay. All right.
You'd be better at being a good cop. Peter Jenner says the universe has unlimited possibilities. When you measure it, you then limit it to the one you're in. I see. Ryan Kurzak is a good Vedic astrologer. I'm an INTP. Or am I? Maybe.
Such an INTP thing to say.
Maybe you are. Unlimited possibilities, endless unlimitations, infinity loop. How long must one wait for infinity? Infinitely long. I didn't think much about astrology until I found out I was Aquarius moon, and suddenly everything made sense. In my relationship, I have to be way more assertive than I'm used to. Just ask Spacey. I'm sure as an INTP, he goes to the tell me what the fuck is going on mode. I don't stop until I get an answer.
Oh, yeah, I do that a lot.
You should get not an ISTJ than Alexander Cruz. You will eventually get tired of banging your head against that wall. After I was there typing the comments going for days. There is value in the observations of comments. If the person wants to let me publish it. The majority of people don't end up getting published. I wish I had more air in my astro chart.
The typing videos do generate a lot of value.
They do.
When they're able to be published. So
right, yeah.
That's good.
But I like this statement too.
What?
I wish I had more air in my astro chart.
Right.
It's a little deflated.
Yeah,
right
it's
now.
a little saggy. Right?
A little flaccid. Oh. Cheese is excellent toasted over fire in a toaster.
Oh, I
Wherever.
love toasted cheese.
Toasted
Are you
cheese is
shitting
the
me?
shit for
Ugh.
sure. Agree, disagree. Any types are better at typing people since any evaluates potential. I agree. Any types are better at typing people.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily know if that's why, but it would make sense. I mean, the thing is, I notice Kimberly has a very difficult time distinguishing between which potentialities are likely or worth attaching to, and
Right.
which ones are not worth attaching to or unlikely.
No, the best they can do is like, here's a potentiality, right?
And the other thing is, she doesn't know when it's pointless to potentiate.
Right.
Like, so as soon as I note in my head, like, 3 levels of conditionality, fuck it.
Right.
I'm not going to bother trying to potentiate out. Kimberly will sometimes ask me questions like, well, how do you know it's going to go like this?
Mm.
And I'll say, well, I can't explain it exactly because I've only got it down to 2 levels of conditionality, which is to say, if they do this kind of thing, then I'll do this kind of thing. But if they do this kind of thing, then I'll do this kind of thing. And if they do this kind of thing, I'll do this kind of thing. But I can't get any more specific than that because if I were doing anything more specific than that, I'd be not using extroverted intuition in its optimal way at all. It's like I'd be wasting potentiation on something that will require too much TI parsing. And the vast majority of the potentialities would never be realized and are unlikely, so I wouldn't bother wasting my time on it. Low NE types don't seem to make that distinction very well. Good question, Tom Jacobson. You're on a roll. 2 comments, 2 bombs. Are you a INFJ? I just divorced an ESFP only to realize that I had never met an intuitive male. Now I'm addicted to intuitive cock.
Oh, damn.
I wasted a decade with the most shallow motherfucker. Lolo LV, I cut of
You
your
know what? I
jib.
sympathize with you.
I like the cut of your jib.
I
ma'am.
do. I do, in fact, like the cut of your jib.
And I am a connoisseur of jib cuts. So, okay. Oh, Jack Sparrow's compass doesn't point north. It points to the things you want the most. For Jack, the needle is always spinning. Oh, it points to the things you want. Oh,
Interesting.
Interesting. Yes, my SE is indeed inside a cup of coffee. Hembo, and it gets stuck on the rum. Why wouldn't that be good for relationships? Why wouldn't what be good for relationships? Pooing on your friend's face? Well, they don't really like it. It smells bad. It's considered disrespectful. A lot of reasons. What types aren't likely to smoke? No FE.
SJs.
Yeah, no, but the ones without FE.
Right, yeah. STJs are the ones probably least likely to smoke.
Tool function FE will start smoking if they're around smokers.
Yes, totally.
INFJ and ISFJ. They can't help it. And it's probably true for ESFJs too, although they might be a little bit more nuanced and deft in their FE.
Yeah.
Listen, Mom asked a compelling question. Which direction does your compass point to, Peter Dentist? That sounds like a great middle school poetry assignment. Like, okay, we're going to write what's called the compass poem. My compass points towards joy. My compass.
God damn it. You're giving me fucking nightmare flashbacks from grade school, dude.
Yeah. Let's see. My brother would be a good cop. I'll be the sleeping cop because my Venus is in Gemini and Moon is in Aquarius. You know, if I would date a girl named Gemini, I would say my Venus is in Gemini all the time.
If I ever date a girl named Gemini, she better have like gray eyes or something. Like that, you know, like
she better have actual magical powers.
right.
No, I like the conflict with my ISTJ. If everything's easy breezy, I get really bored. I think IHPs were pretty simple, but we love a touch of chaos. Yeah. IHP chicks are freaks.
It's true.
By chaos, that's what she means. She means, the kind of porn that they keep behind the regular porn. I think I have Virgo moon pieces of Venus. I have pieces of Venus in my Virgo moon.
You got your Virgo moon in my Aquarius penis.
So,
Yeah.
so Hootenanny does mean an informal gathering of folk music. Did I miss folk music? No, I just sort of co-opted the term as a general reference to a party rather than actually specifically meaning a hootenanny. I can see why you might be confused. I do sometimes play folk music, but in this instance, I wasn't using the word quite as literally as all that. Supernova, are you a bit uptight? That's a good question, Winston's mom. I'm sure you're going to get a direct and accurate answer. And what's with all this astrology talk? Asked Countess One contemptuously. Get this astrology out of my fucking live chat, says Countess One. Pisces Venus is good. Scorpio Venus is the worst. Lamau, I like the Scorpio Venus. What am I, everybody? I'm a Taurus. I know that.
Yeah.
April 27th, 1971.
We're both Taurus.
All right, so these ones have two things. Pisces Venus.
Yeah.
I want my astrology tri-type.
Oh, I got you.
I'm a Taurus what?
You don't just have a tri-type. You have a fucking... There's a whole list of shit that you...
Okay.
Yeah.
April 27th, 1971. Somebody tell me which two things I get to be. Okay. Why wear a hat in a barn?
Because you're going to light it on fire.
The barn or the hat?
The barn, silly.
Oh. Sorry, Countess One. Frowny Angus here. I'm not super uptight, says Supernova. I'm more easygoing, according to a lot of people. A lot of people, a lot smarter than you, is accused me of being uptight.
Not super uptight.
Hoedown and Hootenanny. One is north and the other is south. Because it is a hat dance. Or when sleeping, what's the difference between a grip and a loop? How can one tell which one is in? Thank you. Well, the way it's normally used, a loop would be considered on a shorter time frame, basically, and a grip would be on a longer time frame. So if you spend a couple of weeks recovering from some traumatic loss, then you'd be said to be in the grip. But if you're spending all afternoon just thinking over this embarrassing conversation you had earlier this morning, you'd be said to be in a loop, like say an SIFE loop or something. I think the term is useful enough, but probably doesn't refer to anything really worth making a distinction about. At least not the loop one.
Right.
Maybe the grip one is okay. Yes, it keeps the light out, and you sleep better. You do sleep better when the lights are out. I wish I had some weed right now. Thank you for reminding me, Angantir. I have been remiss in my duties.
Don't we all? You know what? Weed is medicine for intuitives, I think.
Yeah. It helps.
Sensors don't seem to like it as much.
Yeah, and the
generally.
It's true.
Or at least the extroverted sensors.
Yeah, I mean, Kimberly, she doesn't smoke anywhere close to the amount of weed that you and I smoke.
Yeah, nowhere near.
Nothing close to
Yeah.
it. And, it's like the other day when I ate like 150 milligrams of edibles or whatever, I thought, I feel strangely not impatient. I feel almost like what ifs? It's a meow reliever. Nice. To cover the face from the annoying light while sleeping in the barn. Yes, I do get bored often, but I also come up with an idea just as often to counter it. Is how far is personal bodily sensation related to SI or SE? I'm still not sure about that one. It's mostly SI. It's SI. It's not SE. I dated a twin one time. I did. I didn't date both twins, but I dated one of two identical twins. And get to your good question. Her name was Jen Johnson, which is a very common name, so I have no problem saying what it was. It was back in college. Speaking of freaks, that girl was a freak. I didn't really date her. I didn't exactly date her, but
Freaks don't exactly date people.
right. You know, I dated her. Hospital Bright, 6K daylight bright. Is the music still a thing, still its bag of rice? Yes, it is. And it's currently serving an alternate purpose, which is blocking that light right there. Thank you for asking, Susie. God, Jesus, so many things in the live stream I can't keep up at all. It's really frustrating me. I'm trying to keep up. Here we go. Lamau, it's not confined to gender. Just look at Spacey's search history. What does Spacey's search history say? What's not confined to gender?
Oh, my search history is you don't
you mean about being a freak? Oh, I'm sure I need to be male too.
You don't even want to know. Yeah, you don't even want to fucking know.
I'm not saying they're not.
Alexandra knows.
I'm just saying that it's more surprising. Like people don't think that of INTP chicks, and they may or may not think about it about INTP dudes. But you know, I had a friend who was an INTP. I never got on her or anything, but she and I talked about that, and she's pretty open about shit. She was into finding like random dudes on Craigslist. She liked to have sex with like strangers that she didn't like, basically. It's like the bigger the douchebag, the better, and never more than once. You know, she's definitely. She liked to have sex. Cheese fans are recommended to travel to Brazil. They grill giant cuts of cheese on sticks. You can munch on at the beach. Sounds good. Hey, I'm a Taurus too. Astrology type, tri-type. You're a pseudo-Taurus, Peter Dennis? Koopa was Cooper, then went into heat, and the other kitten. The thing is, from what I've read about Taurus, it's always about being grounded and solid and reliable and shit. That's not me at all. Does Spacey and Eric have to make me pudding? I think we do, but it's not going to be tapioca.
Nah, I'm usually a chocolate pudding guy. Honestly, I'm pretty vanilla. If you like the pun.
Yeah. Mom went into labor 19th, born the 22nd. Ouch. I said that before I even read Winston's mom. Ouch. It was my fourth slide I see in my NITI loop made me procrastinate and get analysis paralysis. Well, that's better than real paralysis. Or say, I understand and look at her shoes. Had to get it just right. Berserk, yes. Everyone think, oh, Eric, drink some water and touch your nose. Let's see if we can make Eric touch his nose. Nose. Did I touch it before I read that? I don't know. I agree that weed is often medicine for many, especially intuitives. I am going to get baked next time. I haven't had it in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm more into alcohol, caffeine. Weed just puts me to sleep, and don't even give me the indica sativa argument. So did Kim make it back? Oh yeah, she was back. She talked to turtle people. She took care of the turtle.
What, Alexandra? You just need to get yourself some amphetamines.
Yeah.
Stop fucking around with that.
What I want you to try to do is go get yourself a little bit of what's commonly referred to colloquially as speed.
Yes.
Okay. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna ingest that speed, either orally, use the nasal membranes. You can boof it by placing the speed up your anus. Or if you want to go really hardcore, you could Get yourself a meth pipe and smoke it. Regardless of the method of ingestion, what you'll discover is a new sense of purpose and vigor that was lacking prior to the ingestion of this feed. Yeah. Enjoy the week, guys. Possessing weed in Singapore was jail time.
Yeah, Singapore is a pretty strict place.
Yes.
Seems like a cool place to visit, though.
Singapore, your drug laws are draconian.
There's got to be a way to get drugs there, though. I don't care how illegal it is.
You wanted to name your boat Marley? You wanted to name your boat Marley? But your husband said the Coast Guard would board us. Well, the thing is, see, if that were the case, your husband sounds like a TE dom or something. I would think to myself, well, let's name it Boat Marley and not have any drugs, and then make a big fuss when they board us and film it.
Yeah.
And that's what I would think.
Yeah, make a big fuss and film it. That's what everybody
I'm trying to get medical marijuana in New Zealand. But that's good. I hope they get it. It's just basically a rhetorical trick to get people to get recreational marijuana, which is fine. It's not the ideal way, but whatever. Bjork, ENFP, INFP, or neither? Probably ISFP or maybe INFP. I don't know. Everyone should check their browsers for cookies and clear the search history. The bots are digging tunnels.
No, Bjork, I think, is an ISFP.
Okay, so that was what I said too. Is it maybe ISFP? Winston's mom. What does that mean? I don't even know. Who cares if they know what my search history is? I'm not searching for anything. If I'm searching for anything that's not like something I want to advertise, it's porn, and if I'm doing that, it's incognito window time. That's what incognito window is for. You should call it masturbation window.
Yes, that'd be a much better name.
We'd all understand what they meant more clearly. Alcohol made me do things I regret. Not really, but you get what I mean. Yeah.
You get it.
Yeah, you drink a few drinks, you smoke a few bowls you didn't intend to smoke. You wake up the next day feeling a little ashamed of yourself. That's fine. We've all gotten drunk and done shit where you wake up and go, "Who are you?" And
how did I get here? What happened?
You did seem like a very nice lady last night, but now you seem a little bit like a gargoyle. Okay, hopefully not for her sake, says Michael Thompson. Read Craigslist sometime and you'll notice rallies paying people to attend.
Yeah, that is really fucking crazy.
What type is the freakiest sexually? I missed the beginning of that. So I was talking about INFPs. And they might be the freakiest. I don't know. INFPs, we're sort of freaky, but we don't really have a very clear preference about anything, including sex, and maybe more clear in that area. I mean, I definitely am not vanilla, but but I'm okay being vanilla too. But within the non-vanilla area of shit, I'm pretty wide open to whatever, But yeah, I would say INTPs. It works because INTPs have tons of ideas that kind of activates ISTJs any in the same way. Well, I know ISTJs will get a lot out of that because they're seeking any, and you've got plenty of any to give. But you're not seeking SI, and they're not going to give you any FE. Should INTPs mate with each other to match freak levels and breed the fabled Kinkermention?
Holy shit, that's an amazing comment. What? Kinkermention?
I would say
that would be the kinkiest child of all time. I agree, but yeah.
I would say yes. Would testing one's emotional sensitivity be a good indication of maturity and confidence for all types?
Not necessarily, because you'll see widely differing levels of emotional maturity, between types of relatively similar maturity. Like
I would say emotional
emotional
sensitivity is a good
sensitivity, rather.
it's a good indication of maturity and confidence for ESTPs and ENTPs because it's our polar and it's important, and we got to figure out some way to actually incorporate things that are very important but that we're blind to. So in that regard, a mature and confident ENTP or ESTP is less of a dick, right? And is more genuinely kind and is more genuinely considerate and is humbler and recognizes their own failings more. So, but for like an INFP or ISFP, do they need to be more emotionally sensitive to optimize? No, they probably need to be less emotionally sensitive to optimize. 2 INTP making a baby means there will be no sane person to keep the INTP from throwing the baby into the wall when it cries too much.
What the fuck?
That's not true. Listen, Susie, that's spoken like a childless INTP.
Yeah, seriously.
NTPs are great parents. We're great parents. INTPs and ENTPs are both great parents. We're not necessarily disciplinarians at all, but we know how to love for sure. And I have to say I was a great parent to my daughter, despite the fact that I had my problems and everything. She always knew that I loved her deeply and unconditionally, and that I would always take her side if it came down to it, she needed me to. Then we never had conflicts. We always resolved them so easily. 2 TI tool users, so easy. We just, okay, we both understand things. Okay, cool, we're cool, yes, okay, goodbye. Fight over. I don't really like receiving FEs as Alexander Cruz. I do seek SI a lot of times. Cover for me. Are you sure you're not an ENTP? That would make more sense if you're an ISTJ.
Yeah, that's a possibility. For sure. Yeah.
Peter Dennis, that's not just tonight. That's every night on the matinee thing there. This was called that sign that puts the movie title on the matinee. Is that called the matinee?
Oh, I don't remember.
I think it might be. It's confusing because the early shows are called matinees.
Yeah,
I think that sign is also maybe called a matinee.
Maybe you might know better than me.
Regardless, Anal Wreckage Anonymous has one of those signs above its meeting room, and it does say tonight's showing any wide open.
Any wide open. Tonight we're going in the back door, guys.
What are some other things I might fit in my ass? Say all the
right,
any
exactly.
users at Anal Wreckage Anonymous. If asked what we can conclude about men, then why can't we only? Are you still on about the horns and the honking pathology? I don't fucking care. Whatever thing you want to say about it is correct. However you think I was wrong about it, I was wrong. You're right. Honks, horns, men's, whatever. Control plus Shift plus N in Chrome or Control plus Shift plus P in Firefox does what? What does that do? It opens the website for Anal Wreckage Anonymous.
What? Opens a new window?
Control plus Shift plus N? I don't know.
I don't fucking know. I don't remember, honestly.
Thanks, Peter. All those bright side tests say I'm pretty right-brained, which I think is correct because I'm left-handed. ENTP just need an FJ partner, methinks. I think we need an FJ or an NTP. INTP would be okay. Does anybody near the land of meat and 3 want a little boy? Ferret with a mask? Nobody wants a ferret. What's his mom?
Is it baby meeper, most likely? What the hell does any of that mean?
Nobody wants a ferret.
I actually do want a ferret.
They're illegal in California.
Oh, fuck.
My first day a week until 3 a.m. with my puppy when he cries until he falls asleep is both throwing him against the wall. Oh, well.
Oh, spoken like someone with a heart.
Yeah. Pooh. His angry tear. And I might be an ENTP, but the world will never know. Okay. Good news, the world doesn't care. Enter through the shadows in the back stack. Honk if you're horny. Slim Shady knows the shadows knows. Ha ha ho. It opens a private incognito window. Oh, it opens an incognito window.
Okay.
I'm half horny. Well, you better only half honk then. Is it likely that I obsess about wanting good TE and SD because I'm an INFP who's unskilled at both, or is it more likely because I'm in the Gamma Quadra? I don't know. I mean, what do you mean by obsess about it? Means you think words about it? Or
INFP isn't in the Gamma Quadra. What's going on here?
what did you say? Is it because I'm an INFP? Or is it because I'm in a Gamma Quadra?
Oh, okay. I see.
Oh, sir, could you give us an idea of your best any moment when you've realized how any you create? I don't quite understand that question, but I mean, there are certainly. I mean, I would say my best any moments are all NI moments. It's like the any just spews out. The tricky part's editing, right? Regardless of what frame I'm working in, whether it's improvisation or actually writing a song or writing a book or whatever.
Well, can you really pick out an NE moment if you're an NE dom? I mean,
Moments are NI.
right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like
My best NE moments are NI.
she's a cockstar.
Lola, Alvy, how old are you?
I mean, yeah, I might be interested.
We got, depending on your age group, there may be some intuitives around that might want to talk more about, I don't know, frogs or whatever with you.
Sure. Yeah, frogs. Did you hear the frogs are getting turned gay?
Frog is always a good conversation starter. If you go on a first date or whatever, you just talk to somebody you never met before, and you don't know what to say. You say, "Hey, what do you think about frogs?"
I never thought about that before. Eric, you were a freaking dating genius.
I am, for sure. The well risk would have already been foreseen and provided against. Someone would be guilty and neither would accept that. Anyway, SE7 survival would make the kid a swimming prodigy. Or the wall risk. Alexander Cruz, the problem is that in California they actually pursue ferrets. I don't know. Whatever, but ferrets. I'll start petition for hedgehogs. The slogan will be let Sonic roam free. Gay bullfrogs, tree frogs, gay frogs. Where can I find a nice ESP woman? What age do you want her to be? If you want an older one, we typed one today. She's single, she's divorced. I could talk to her. How old are you? Try to find somebody the same basic age.
All right, if you want a young one, right, go to wherever all the fucking party's at, whether it's a club or a bar or an event, a venue, or if it's an older one, they're probably in their house, going through a couple bottles of wine every night, regretting all the crappy decisions they made. I'm just kidding.
Here's another way to catch an ESP woman. Get an 8 ball of cocaine, walk out on the street with it in your pocket. Don't say anything to anybody. She'll find you.
It's not a bad idea.
Baseball games and back alleys, Tim. Baseball games are a good place too, yeah. Hey, Freddie Chandron's here, apparently.
Shruthi.
Spacey, you're ruining Freddie Chandron for me. Freddie Chandron, Spacey is ruining you for me because he keeps mispronouncing your name on purpose. Countess says, Freddie Chandron, hi. Supernova says, I was wondering when you'd show up. Why are you so late? Just go snowboarding, says Alexandra. There's another place to meet ESPs, sure. But, another good place to meet ESPs is like go around during business hours to like a Starbucks, and they'll be in there like trying to like leading a sales team or something. Okay, so you guys, I need you to go out here and do this and blah blah blah. That's probably ESTP. Depending on how like mover shakery there. Serenity enters the room and the energy melds into a peaceful feeling. Whereas if Swoothy enters the room, everybody gets agitated. I'd rather talk lions. It was World's Lions Day on the 10th of August. Few people knew. Well, how many Detroit Lions fans are there? Me, 34, looking for 24 to 34. Oh, well, you won't be happy with the one who typed earlier. She was in her 60s. How do I get a young ENFP woman? Well, basically, you want to look for a woman who's
go to a rave festival. They're everywhere.
Yeah. And to check if they're ENFP, what you can do is you can ask them some political questions that the answers to which are clearly contradictory. So you say something like, do you believe in the rights of workers to keep a fair amount of what they earn? They'll say yes, and then you go, and do you believe that capitalism is responsible for a lot of suffering? And they'll say yes, and then you know they're an ENFP. An INTP told me that tarantulas keep pet frogs because they eat ants who eat spiders. How do I get the right amount of women with SI and SE for an INFP? What's the right amount of women for an INFP?
Zero.
How do I get the right amount of women with SI and FE for an INFP? Well, first you determine how many SI-SE women an INFP needs. Let's say an INFP needs 7 of them.
Right.
Well, then you'd be able to ask the question, you'd be able to really get your TE in the mix, because then you know
INFP requires a complex network of sensors to provide a support system, allowing them to not break down at any given moment.
The thing is, within a given month, an INFP must ejaculate within a set of different kinds of women, beginning with INTPs, of course, and ISTPs. ENFPs must ejaculate inside the ESFP at least 6 times during the month, which should be very easy, probably done during the course of a single day, if she's a typical ESFP. Okay, anyway, don't mean to be teasing ESFPs. I'm trying not to do that. Renaissance fairs and Antifa riots.
Oh,
yeah,
that's not bad.
Or like that party I went to. This was a dude at this party where it went out and got a really high-end laser woodcutter. Okay, and they cut out all these symbols that were corporate symbols, because in the middle of the party they had a bonfire, and then we were all going to throw the symbols of corporate greed into the fire. Like, one of the symbols was an equal sign with a line through it, inequality. And we're going to throw that in there, and we're going to show how we care. And it was like a Bernie Sanders party. Anyway, that guy was so ENFP. It's like there was no sense of shame at the hypocrisy. Like, talking about how bad corporations are. You know, he walks his ass into fucking Home Depot with all this money that he probably got from his parents. And he buys a fucking laser woodcutter from the corporation Home Depot that's made by a corporation. It's only available to him because of the actual corporations who make shit, in order to have a party in which he condemns corporations for making this party possible.
Yeah.
And it has no sense of like, hold on a second. Maybe there's some unintended irony here. Maybe I should check myself a little bit.
So funny too.
Sounds like the shittiest party ever. It was fun, actually. It was a fun party.
Stacey is from Narnia.
That's
awesome. Thank you.
The thing is, Alexander Cruz, only, like many of the people there were not on board with this ridiculousness. Most people there were just there at the party. They didn't really think of it so much as a Bernie party. They just thought it was a party, you know. There was a band playing, there was beers and stuff, you know. So it was what was called Church of Fun. Church of Fun in Los Angeles is this artist commune house. It's also got a stage in it, and it's not a business. It's like, but it's a live venue, and it's like a private club kind of. So it avoids all the liquor law shit and all that kind of stuff. Anyways, it was there. And so people are used to going there for shows and parties and stuff. The fact that this guy had made it this Bernie Sanders thing, it didn't really work that well for him because, like, the majority of people didn't participate in this little bonfire thing. I did because I thought it was hilarious.
Well, I mean, he got the fucking laser woodcutter and went through the trouble, right?
To make all those
Yeah,
little
he might as well
tips.
participate.
Yeah, I had an inequality one somewhere around here. I don't know what the fuck happened to it. I kept a couple of them.
I don't know. Those are things best bought from the Chinese anyway. That's for sure.
I mean,
You can get them for like a quarter of the price.
no, because yeah, very specific things. Some things he wanted to cut out of his wood. He had like the Chevron corporate label, the Nike corporate label. You know, like a bunch of corporate labels that he cut out.
Mm-hmm.
And so obviously you can get those labels easy enough on the internet, but then you got to put it into your laser cutter. It's like it's basically it's like a Cricut, you know, like Kimberly has, but for wood.
Yeah.
Winston's mom reminds me to remind you, please hit like. Thank you. What do you mean by operationalized terms, Eric? Excellent question, Freddie Cameron, and I will explain it right now. To operationalize your term is to define it in relation to some other object on the flow. The flow being whatever your case is that you're making or negating or whatever, is all the arguments about it, right? So if I say that I'm defining justice as upholding negative rights, then you could say justice is my value and upholding negative rights is my value criterion. So in that turn, it becomes operationalized because then the other party can say, look, your value criterion is upholding rights. So you say that the way to attain justice is upholding rights, not to attain equality or some other thing like that. Now, what I pointed out here is your argument doesn't uphold rights. It violates rights. So, but you're still trying to claim it upholds justice. But you said in your value criterion that the way to uphold justice is to uphold rights. So by defining justice as the upholding of negative rights, you operationalize it, which means you can do things with it. In other words, you can say, this thing he's doing violates rights. So it doesn't withstand scrutiny under my framework of justice. Now, it might withstand scrutiny under his framework of something else, but if we're going to end up using my framework to judge the round, then it doesn't withstand scrutiny under mine, and it doesn't hold any water, and you shouldn't give them any impacts from it. So that's why it's important we operationalize terms, because it allows us to say, under this frame, it means X, and under this frame, it means Y. And we have to argue about which frame we ought to prefer. But at least we should agree that you want to frame it utilitarian-wise, and I want to frame it deontology-wise, let's say. You want to say, let's measure the impacts, and whatever turns out to be useful, that's what we should do. I want to say, let's measure the processes, and whichever validates as legitimate is acceptable to do. So which framework should we use? Well, I don't know. But what we should agree on is that that this argument here works under your framework but doesn't under mine, or this argument here works under mine but doesn't under yours. We should both agree on that. And then we can argue about which framework we ought to prefer. But we should never disagree on factual things like your utilitarian argument works under your utilitarian framework, but it doesn't work under my deontological framework. Both parties should agree with that, because they're not conceding anything, right? They're not conceding. Now, granted, sometimes it works under both frameworks, and in competition debate, people will often make the claim and try to establish that their thing wins under both frameworks. But the reality, of course, is if you're having any kind of deliberative, you're having any kind of dialectical discourses, you should agree on shit like, okay, well, here's where we differ, and here are the frames, and now we gotta talk about which frame we prefer. So that's what it means to operationalize shit, is to define it in terms of something else, usually a frame. Usually a framework. Which one was Sarah again? Was it Grota the P?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
They're saying she's ISTJ or somebody is.
Whatever.
I thought she was for a little while.
Okay, I think I'm done with this now.
Yeah. We've been at it for 3 hours.
It's a long one.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here. Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese. Talk to you later.